It's Tuesday, the 24th of November, 2020. You're listening to the Giant Bombcast, Brendan Fraser's favorite video game podcast on the internet.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. It's on a t-shirt now,
but not his favorite overall. He has a lot of non-internet podcasts that he likes more than this one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
he was like, I was into Idle Thumbs. That was like, if you go way back, I was
big thumbs guy.
Pre-internet, he's got like Dead Drop cassette tapes.
Yeah, he subscribes to a lot of zines, it turns out.
Yeah.
Yes. Brendan Fraser's huge on datpiff.com.
Some of those come with mixtapes.
I don't even know what DatPiff is.
What?
Come on.
Jesus Christ, Ben.
Whatever, I'm 30. It sounds like an old guy
okay,
thing.
all right,
I'm a year younger than you, and I know.
Yeah, but you're like an audio guy,
No, see,
You're like,
I took that as like, I'm 30 as to mean like, oh, you're super old. Of course you don't know what that
oh
is.
no, this is
right.
I'm the old person.
That's right, you're here. Get ready for people 10 years younger to start disdaining you all the time.
Oh yeah, well, I'm already classically disdained, so I'm ready.
Jan, are you officially our last remaining 20-something?
Yeah, as of right now.
Oh, man.
I mean, next week for sure, I'll be the only 20-something on crew.
Mm-hmm.
It's an esteemed position. Hello, it's November. It is the last Tuesday before Thanksgiving.
Oh no.
Normally, you would say all the video games were out by now.
Not so.
But it didn't
Not
quite
so much.
ended up not quite working out that way this year.
But only because they all got delayed to next year.
Yes.
It's not like December is. Well, I get there's stuff in December. There's always one big thing and a few smaller things.
Well, yeah,
right.
I mean,
Immortals.
Because
Phoenix Rising.
the thing
What?
got delayed. Yes, Immortals: Phoenix Rising. That's the one. And there's it's the Cyberpunk also. It's the
Oh, yeah.
Every single time someone says Immortals: Phoenix Rising, I have to remind myself that is a real game and not just a fake game name from a television show. Didn't Ubisoft help out with that? Mythic
TV show.
What was that?
Like, if you told me the game coming out of that TV show was called Immortals: Phoenix Rising, I'd go, yeah, that's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Pretty funny fake video game.
That's pretty good.
Let me ask you: if people were still referring to it as Gods and Monsters, how would you feel about it?
That is more memorable because I'd be like, because every time that came up, I'd be like, wasn't that a movie?
That actually sounds like a Brendan Fraser movie. Now that you mention it,
It's wasn't there like a Titans one with?
Isn't that a Halle Berry movie or something? What is that?
No,
What am I?
that's Monkey Bone.
Monkey Bone.
Yeah, you're thinking of Monkey Bone.
I don't know.
God and Monsters is a 1998 movie
Monsters Ball. What?
with Ian McKellen. Wow, and Brendan Fraser. Wait,
No.
yes,
No.
It all comes back together.
it all comes back to Brendan.
Oh man.
There was a time I got involved in an ARG for an upcoming movie where I successfully convinced a chat room full of people that I was Brendan Fraser. And at the point where I realized like some people actually believed me, I backed out of it. But I often think back what I could have done with that power.
What could you have done with that power?
Yeah, I wonder.
I don't know.
Mythic
Probably-
Quest is that fake game from that show.
Oh yeah, they named the game, the show after the fake game, I guess. So, I guess that makes sense.
How's everybody feeling with Thanksgiving drawing nigh?
There's
We're having
also
ours tonight.
Justice League Gods and Monsters. There are multiple movies called. I guess I see why they changed the name.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty generic, but Immortals Phoenix Rising swung so far in the opposite direction that it's laughable.
I get it confused with Godfall. Godfall's out, right?
Godfall is out.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
It has
Godfall, you could
Tired
play
Godfall. Wired Immortals Phoenix Rising.
One is like Breath of the Wild, one is like Assassins. Is that true? No, I'm making it
Yeah.
up.
No, that's
One is like-
kind of true.
One is like Breath of the Wild, for sure.
One is like Melee Destiny.
No,
Ooh.
people need to stop saying it is like a live game because it is not.
Is it not?
No, it's like
It's
a
more like a
PlayStation
Diablo,
2
right?
game.
Whoa. Is it like Guild Wars 1?
No, because that has the
even- No.
internet. I mean, real way, as opposed to you can play this multiplayer if you so choose. Like, there's no social space. There's no it's not that game. It's
It's
not.
just got loot, and it's got a loot score.
Wait,
and it's
are
got interfaces that look kind of Destiny-ish.
Are you not?
Yeah.
There's no way
but
to
it's
stay in a party
Are you
either.
not signing into a server when you play it by yourself?
You do, but
Okay.
it doesn't seem to have any of the actual trappings of a real one of those.
Right.
There's no town. There's no tower.
You would think that once partying up with somebody that you would go back to like a hub world or something like that.
You do, but like
with your party, you
Yeah.
do, but not with your
Oh,
party.
but not with your party. You have to start the
Not with
party
your
every
party.
time you start a mission.
Seems as such.
What a good game.
Yep.
I saw somebody in chat
How
said it
much
has
more
no
did you play of it?
matchmaking.
How much time did you spend talking to the fruit-faced lady with the banana mouth and like all the other? It's just
Enough to unlock multiplayer, played one or two things of multiplayer, and then noped out.
Wait,
I
so
can't.
are you saying that it is not, in fact, a Jason game?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I thought we had established.
Oh, damn it. It is not, in fact.
I mean,
a
if you noped out, then by definition, I guess it's not.
I know, I noped out.
See, the thing is, like, a Jason game is not an insult. Jason,
No,
I
it's
really
not. It just-
honestly respect your opinion for games. You just have
It just means that Jason has a specific range of interests, and Godfall seemed like it was within
We all
those
got a
bounds.
type.
I have a high tolerance for some bullshit. I like
Exactly what I was gonna
sifting
say.
through some stuff.
I mean, you know,
Jason
I
has a
would,
really
to
high
find out
tolerance.
what's,
I would say
what's in there.
I would say if you asked me, the defining trait of a Jason game is a heavy emphasis on hack and slash.
Sure.
You like
I
to
like
hack
I
and
like
slash.
combos. I like melee stuff. Absolutely.
But the thing I would also
And I like
say,
hidden gems too.
yeah, is like a
alright.
good Jason game actually has like meaningfully deep combat.
Yes.
And Godfall is not that.
Okay.
Maybe it has
It
like
is not
really
that.
good combat and everything else about it is garbage, but like, you know, Jason can seek out that good gameplay in there and sift through the rest of the garbage.
You like to swing a Buster Sword around, do some combos.
It's like
But also,
Panic
like,
Gold.
Asura's Wrath has terrible combat, and that's
Terrible
100% a
combat.
Jason game.
Yeah,
it's
I
weird.
forgot the
Oh, man.
the cutscenes make up for it.
I forgot that game even had combat. Right.
It's rough. The quick time events are
Yeah.
more fun than the combat.
In my memory, that game is just a QuickTime event game. Right.
Oh, but the quick time events are so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought that game was going to end 5 times. Before it did.
So it's an anime then. Wait, is it even a video game at all? I'm hearing it's not.
Also, when it ends, it doesn't even end because
Yeah.
the real ending is in the DLC that I never got around to playing.
Yeah,
You-
that was
you know
a big
how-
issue
Sorry.
with the game. I mean, that was one of the first games where it was like, you really need to buy the DLC for the ending.
Yeah. That was
But isn't that
ridiculous.
also a very anime thing to do? Is to be like, oh, if you really want the ending of the series, get the OVA we're putting out in
Yeah.
fucking 8 months.
Yeah. It's like, watch this
Yeah.
movie. This is the one movie in the franchise that actually matters to the series.
Is that like Super Dragon Ball?
rare,
The end of
actually.
Evangelion, the series, is what's happening inside Shinji's head. End of Eva, the movie, is what's happening outside of Shinji's body. And the
All right. If I'm going to watch Evangelion, what do I watch at this point?
I think the Netflix thing is fine. I think there's a couple weird translation differences from the original series that people got upset about, but
Didn't they change
I
a
think
bunch
it's
of
like
music?
98% the same.
Also, didn't
What's that?
they change a bunch of music as well?
Oh, they might have changed the music. The voice actors are also different, but like
Does-
not different enough that I could tell.
Does it have more Linkin Park in it now or less?
Oh,
Like, what?
Right.
I didn't know it even had.
Does
I mean,
it?
if we
I
could
don't
go
know.
in the
I
office, I could give
wanna
you those
know.
bootleg Eva DVDs. From
That
Hong
seems like
Kong.
the actual.
No,
way to
those are
watch
all
it.
gone.
No, I have those.
They're packed.
in my house.
Jeff, I have not seen a lot of Evangelion, and what I did watch was like 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. It does not seem like something that you are going to enjoy.
Seems like it's something I need to.
That's fair. I can appreciate your need to know.
Yeah.
Do you like punk kids having mental breakdowns and giant robots?
Yes.
Oh, you might like Evangelion.
Do you like punk? Like punk rock kids or
no,
like
like-
No.
Punk ass.
punk
kids.
ass?
Like Machine Gun Kelly.
I mean,
Oh, fuck this.
Misato's kind
Wait.
of punk.
Fuck Machine Gun Kelly. I'm not watching this.
All right. Let's talk about
He has a pop punk album that isn't that bad, and I hate to say that.
You don't have to say
I mean,
that.
it can't
man.
be any. It can't be any worse than anything else he has ever done. So sure, by definition, like yeah, change it up.
His rapping, bad.
Bad.
Pop punk stuff, it's okay.
That's not shocking to me. It's like, oh, you found a lane that where you aren't fucking absolutely terrible. Maybe you're like one notch up. Like,
Don't get me wrong, he's a terrible singer. Whoever produced the album knows what they're doing.
awesome.
The best part of Machine Gun Kelly is the name.
That's how I feel about Kelly Osbourne's album.
But Kelly Osbourne's like a top
is
3
kind of okay.
Osbourne singer, though. You know, you have to
true.
agree with her on that.
Yeah,
Who were the other two?
Donnie and Marie.
Ozzy. And Kyle, what's the son's name? Jack.
Kyle.
Sure.
Kyle Jack.
Yep,
Kyle Jack.
that's the guy.
KJO.
Like
Man.
an anime guy.
This fucking derail. I had the perfect segue to the game I was going to talk about.
Let's
and
bring it back, baby.
No, we were having fun instead.
And then Eva happened. Jason, would you say that Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity is a certified Jason game?
I think maybe it is because I'm actually enjoying the combat.
Are you?
Yeah, a little bit.
I played
It's-
some of that thing.
It's very Dynasty Warriors.
God help me. I cannot play. I am playing a Musou game
Yep.
because they made it look like Breath of the Wild, and I feel like a
Yep.
gigantic sucker because it's really just one of those.
Yeah, you are a gigantic. Okay, yes, established.
It sure does look and sound like Breath of
That
the
is
Wild.
one of the characters is a giant sucker, actually.
It really look. They turned everything.
It's got all the visual trappings and audio trappings of a Breath of the Wild game.
They turned everything from the paraglider to surfing on the shield into combo moves
Hell yeah.
that you deploy against dozens
really
of enemies
rad.
at one time.
Yep.
Is there weapon degradation?
I don't think
No.
so.
Do you cook?
You definitely cook.
Yes. Yeah, there's cooking, there's blacksmithing.
Because I had a Breath of the Wild save on my Switch, I unlocked the training sword for Link.
There you go. Yeah, and it's not a bad sword. I'm actually still using that.
Is my highest
because I
level
keep
sword at the
upgrading
moment.
it.
I could tell you that 935 was the number of Moblins and Lizalfos that I killed on the first level.
On the first level, 935.
935 KOs. So
Yep.
it's one of those.
I hate that I'm falling into this trap because all of this kind of sounds okay.
Don't do it.
Also, so it's set like, what is it, 100 years or something before Breath of the Wild? Like,
Yeah,
it's set during
it's
like
like a
the
prequel of
calamity
sorts.
that resulted in Breath of the Wild being set in a wasteland.
Yeah, this little guardian dude kind of travels back
Yes,
in time
so
to foretell events.
That's what I was going to mention. Is it's at the point where those the spider robot guardian things from Breath of the Wild, like those things are like overrunning the kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
There's a full on like chibi infantilized one of those that is just straight up BB-8
Oh my God,
running
is that just
around.
Paimon?
Like it is just a tiny little like baby one of those
Kind of cute.
that
He's
beeps,
a baby droid.
that beeps like a droid and runs all over the place, and it's that
Yep.
thing. I don't know, man.
It is that thing.
How's it perform like on a
Not
Switch?
amazing.
Not great. Yeah, I've tried handheld and docked,
Okay.
and it's running 30 frames per second.
If
not-
that. I only
yeah.
played it docked, and it's pretty chunky.
Yep.
So
After a while, you kind of get used to it. But like when I've been playing, stuff on Series X and PS5 and everything's running 60 frames per second now, that makes that 30 frames per second really stand out that much more. So it's in that respect, it's kind of rough.
it's a little there is a map. There's not a whole lot of territory control stuff that I've seen. So
There's a map.
Look, I'm trying to establish if this is a Hyrule Warriors Empires game or not. Okay.
Right. Okay.
I don't think it is. But I don't know, man.
I mean,
It's
okay,
definitely a Dynasty
I
Warriors.
chuckled
game.
for about 10 minutes at how ridiculous all the Breath of the Wild elements are and the way they crammed them into this game pretty shamelessly.
What about the first time you play as Impa and she's just
Yes.
like doing these ridiculous combos?
Her power is to just create like 5 clones of herself, so you actually have like 6 characters slashing hundreds of guys at one time instead of 1.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's dumb fun.
It's
Dumb fun if you just let yourself go.
okay.
Just roll with it.
Saying just-
Like the characters are what I liked about the first one is the character selection. There was a wide swath of characters and they were all kind of fun to play. So I'm looking forward to unlocking more in this one.
Is Lubu in there?
Damn it, I was trying to you beat me to it.
I don't know.
got that Lubu?
I don't know if we've got a Lubu yet.
No yellow turban rebellion. just yet.
Kind of. Yeah, there's a big guardian actually that you've got to run away from that you can't
Yes.
fight until like later in the level. That's right. There is a Lubu.
Wait, is that the Lubu thing? He's invincible at the top of the game?
Oh, he's a badass.
You have to work up to the Lubu fight?
Oh no, it's Lubu. Oh no, it's Lubu.
Have you got any more characters yet?
No, I got Impa. I got Zelda now.
Oh, okay. Zelda's running around with my posse, but she's not playable just yet. But
She's not playable. She uses the Sheikah Slate. She's pretty cool.
I don't know, man. They baited me in with the Breath of the Wild stuff, but I don't know how much
Yeah.
further I can go. Because it's really that.
Does the combat?
The combat is what you
like
make
Breath
of
of the
it.
Wild, or
But
But you can
bit.
totally
Okay. You can-
just mash.
No, you can.
Y, throughout the entire thing. But like I said, it's what you make of it. So if you hit Y twice and then hold X, you'll do a heavy attack at the end of it. If you continue to hold it and then release it at a certain time, it does another attack. So you're constantly engaged, during the combat sequence. It's not just mashing, but you can do that
Like
as well.
you lock onto the major enemies and like circle strafe around them, and like when you dodge at the last second, you straight up get the flurry rush prompts, just like in Breath of the Wild, and do that thing. A bunch of the special attacks are like what is it, magnesis? I think is the magnetic power.
Yeah,
and, like,
magnesis. There's the ice block, and
the freeze
there's,
power,
gravity,
the fancy
and
magic,
bombs.
the blue magic bombs. Like those are all special attacks. Like it's kind of got that stuff, but it's
and everybody's got different magic spells and stuff. So it's also cool that you can switch to other characters on the fly. So if you've got one character that's on the other side of the map, you've got an objective over there, you can just quickly with the D-pad switch over to them. So you're not running through the entire map. So they've cut some of that stuff out.
Yeah, you can like order the characters you're not playing to go to different parts of the map and do stuff. So there's that. But I don't know, man. Maybe I'll poke at it a little bit.
You don't hate it.
But I don't hate it.
You don't hate it.
But it's that.
There's nothing to hate.
Bad.
They're not
They're
bad.
never they're just aggressively the same in like 90% of the way.
Look, man, as a former Dynasty Warriors editor, let me tell you.
I will say that it's a good one of those.
Okay.
Yeah, it seems like more interesting than most of those, honestly.
Yes.
They've got on a pretty hot streak of having those, because I remember the other Zelda one was held in a relatively high regard. The Fire Emblem one was pretty cool.
Yeah, people like Fire Emblem, sure.
But then you get the stuff like, God, what was the last one that I played? One Piece, actually. That was really bad. I did not like that one at all.
I was looking to see who developed this, and I could not find it in the game.
People saying the Attack on Titan one was pretty good.
Is it?
Attack on Titan game was weird. It had some neat stuff because you could kind of like zip around.
Yeah, there's some weird like movement stuff.
Yeah.
That's fun for
Of course, it was developed by Omega Force.
I was going to say,
Why am I even asking
Omega
that
Force?
question?
Like what?
They have an endless capacity to turn out Musou games.
Yeah.
They cannot make too many at one time. That's right. Yes.
And then fucking just pops out the top. And you're like, great. All right, ship it.
They just turn the Musou crank and they come popping out.
Crank.
Hundreds
It's
of
a little
enemies.
bit different than some of the other ones.
Hundreds of enemies come pouring out.
Yeah, there's the levels of quality in those games. Like I mentioned, the One Piece one, not fun to play at all. It doesn't look good, doesn't feel good. This, on the other hand, does look good and feel pretty good. So.
Yeah. It sure does look and sound like that thing. I mean, you're straight up picking up Korok seeds in the middle of missions, and even that is kind of the same.
Yep.
So
Some performance, I mean, you
Performance
said
is
the
not great.
performance is not great.
It's a little
Like,
chunky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a tad.
Do you? I guess part of it, like you said, it is kind of in contrast to new consoles coming out and all the other stuff. But do you think the Switch is starting to look a little old?
I don't know. I would argue that it kind of always was a little old.
Right.
When it came out.
Sure.
It's just what they do with it that matters.
Right.
Like they're just kind of cramming a lot of enemies onto the screen with this thing. So.
Yeah.
I wonder if we're going to continue to see big third-party games coming out on the Switch, or as that shift to the new consoles happens, if they're going to back away from it rather than do the work to actually do a port.
But I understand why it would be harder, but I think the Switch is maybe a little more of a special exception just because it has sold so many.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like the EA doesn't dump a bunch of EA is putting like that bare minimum like legacy edition FIFA out already on the Switch, aren't they? There was and EA is weird about Nintendo for the last couple of generations anyway, so maybe but it's that feeling of like, oh yeah, they did sell a ton of Switches, but those players aren't necessarily going out and buying a bunch of big third-party games. They're buying first-party games,
buying
and
the
they're
Switch,
buying
the Nintendo games.
I saw like last week, Bethesda had to get out there and reiterate that Doom Eternal is still coming to the Switch because they canceled the physical release, and that refunded everybody's pre-orders for that version.
Yeah,
and they had to be like, no, we promise it's still coming out. It's just digital only. So
yeah.
I don't know.
That, or you have like a specific version of a game, like how the Monster Hunter games are. It's not going to be World. It's the It's like the two offshoots headed to Switch.
Yeah, was Monster Hunter Stories is the one coming to?
That also ends up being a separate situation because of how the Switch sells in Japan compared to other platforms and all the other stuff. Like it's kind of a different split there. So Monster Hunter is classically that handheld game anyway. So that's kind of a good fit there, I guess.
Plus, if you buy the rumors, there potentially will be a new Switch out next year.
I think that's kind of what I'm getting at. Is like, do you feel it?
Oh
yeah, sure, yes.
They've sold enough of the Switch now. They're gonna flip the Switch and sell some more.
To be fair, that big intro mission is on like
screen on the back.
The first big mission is like a huge open field with like as many people as they can cram on there just to make it flashy, and like the second mission's a little bit smaller and it runs better. So it's not the whole game.
Yeah,
but yes, they are straining the capabilities of that thing for
totally.
sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
feels like it. Yeah.
Are y'all in for a new Switch? I guess. That's
yeah.
I want better battery life, and I'd take better graphics, but honestly, number one for me is battery life and no Joy-Con issues.
Oh yeah. We'll bring it up when we talk about the Kingdom Hearts game, but I had to switch.
Let's talk about it.
Okay. I had to borrow my partner's Joy-Cons because I was missing notes a bunch after that quick look. Because now there's a Kingdom Hearts game and Melody of Memory out on Switch, PS4, Xbox. It's an interesting package.
What is that?
At $60, it's a rhythm game. So you have your party of Sora, Donald, Goofy, or whoever else wants to join, running down a music lane, hitting notes. Quick Look is up on the site now, but it's not. There's something off about it to me personally, because when you play a rhythm game, I feel like you're supposed to get the satisfaction or like the good feeling of like, I'm hitting these notes, I'm hitting the timing properly. But it just doesn't click necessarily with that game. And it's a real shame, because Kingdom Hearts, for as much as people poo-poo on it and vehemently defend it, both sides can at least agree that there are good bits of music in the series.
Like Skrillex.
Yeah,
like
I was going to say, is Skrillex in this? That's my number one question.
So that's the thing. I haven't got to Kingdom Hearts 3 because every single Kingdom Hearts game, this has to be an important integral piece of the puzzle to move the story forward. This couldn't just be a celebration of the music. They had to cram the story somehow into this,
and they cram the whole story into this.
Oh my goodness.
In the span of one song, Ben and I finished Kingdom Hearts 1.
That sounds like a good length for a Kingdom Hearts story.
Well, so that was just a special theater version of the song. Normally, like how many worlds did you have to go through before you got past Kingdom Hearts 1?
It's the same amount of worlds that you would play. You visit every single world, so you're going through like Tarzan's world, Little Mermaid, Hercules, Aladdin, etc. Because you are now going through the whole span of every single game. I don't think it's the phone games included, but like including like Chain of Memories, 358 over 2 days, and all through the guise of it being a rhythm game that is being narrated, the story bits, by Kairi, because this is technically taking place after the Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind DLC. So it's not the best rhythm game at all.
Yeah, I wasn't playing and I was only watching you play it, but the part that stood out to me as being the worst implementation in a rhythm game was the part where like there are parts where Sora will start to fly and you have to hit notes, but it's analog movement.
It's
and
analog
not like
movement.
Snapping two lanes, which you imagine a rhythm game is all about.
Yeah. Because so the way it's presented, it's like, you have your traditional party of 3 and you have like what looks like 3 lanes, but you can play most of the game just hitting one button, even though there's like a target in front of Donald, Sora, or Goofy. There are instances where you're going to have to hit multiple buttons to hit like 2 targets or 3 targets. But just like the lane structure just doesn't feel good to me.
It didn't look like something you could sight read. Like I feel like an appeal for a lot of rhythm games is like you start getting good and then you're like, okay, it's a fun little challenge to just like load up a song for the first time and try and pass it on that first go. Like it's when you're really balling out, you start doing that, and it feels really good. But it seemed like it was just mushy. You know,
when they've got a big solo, does it happen is it always solo mid or which lane?
Even like the note complexity, it you know, like it doesn't get too complicated, and like, you know, I've bumped it up to the proud or like the harder difficulty, and even then, like it just, the structure of the notes doesn't even look good to me.
I had to see what this looked like. I pulled up some screenshots, and it's basically Rock Band if Kingdom Hearts characters were like skating on the highway,
just running.
Also, none of the different characters do anything different.
Yeah.
Like, it's because you swap around. It's like, oh, I got Hercules in my party for the Hercules map, but it's just literally the same thing. Except the one thing they do is if they're big, they block the highway and make it hard to see past them.
Yeah, that's true. Because like you have Beast joining your party, and then Beast, like, he's jumping up and like obscuring parts of the freaking the screen, so you can't even, you'll be missing prompts.
What does it say about Disney and its dominance of the entertainment complex that I couldn't figure out which Beast you were talking about for a second?
I was also just like, wait, they put X-Men in Kingdom Hearts?
I was like, wait, is this the X-Men Beast? It's like, oh wait, no, it's the Beauty and the, okay, sure.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And you know, it's I hazard to recommend this to a Kingdom Hearts fan because odds are they have already purchased this.
They're
already broken. Those people are already broken people. They bought this because they're already, you're already broken people.
The most damning thing you said at the end was, if you like rhythm games and like Kingdom Hearts, maybe don't even buy this at full price.
It's just, it's such a hard recommendation because it's like a full price title, but it's a rhythm game, but the rhythm game doesn't even feel satisfying, you know, like it doesn't feel like a good one when you can fucking get a mobile rhythm game and like it feels good, you know. But yeah, like the mechanics, it's weird because you're just running down the lane and then you're just mashing A, occasionally hitting the trigger buttons, but then you're also jumping and trying to activate abilities. But then even then, like, you know, part of the appeal of Kingdom Hearts visiting the different worlds and everything is that Sora and company transform to fit the aesthetics of that world. And here they're not even doing that. They're just like in their normal clothes, just running down the lane. And like no one is like, when they hit an enemy, it's just silence. You know, you just hear Sora hitting an enemy, and then that's about it. But like, Goofy isn't goofying it up, or Donald isn't like Donald ducking around. You know,
I hate it.
It just feels like it's like there's no personality to it. It's like you just slapped on the Kingdom Hearts skin and just told them to run down a lane.
But that's the thing. Like, you know, like we're talking about a rhythm game, and the main thing you're telling me about is all the stuff around the rhythm game, not the like, yeah, but it really feels like you're playing this song. You know, like when even, you know, you go back to like original Beatmania and some of these other stuff, like, you know, they're relatively simple games. Audio Surf is not a complicated game from a gameplay perspective, but it was like satisfying. So like if they can't get that core thing right, at some point, like that's still always going to be the thing you're looking at is when you hit the buttons. So all the stuff happening around it, like, do you even notice while you're playing? Or are you just like, are you having to notice it because you're like, this game is so bad that if I'm not getting that out of it, then I'm really getting nothing out of it.
I'm barely paying attention to like what's happening on like the outside. Like you'll notice like, okay, like I'm progressing through the world like I would in like the normal game. But I mean, it's so weird that they're framing this as part of the main story because, you know, you have a game like Persona Dancing All Night, and those are just like a celebration of like the music in those games, right? Or even there's a Hatsune Miku game, rhythm game that's like
a lot of them.
Yeah, a bunch of them. That's like pretty damn good. And, you know, they just use the presentation stuff on the outside, like the shell stuff as like, you know, here's some visual stuff to look at, but the actual core game part feels really good.
Yeah. I'm just going to throw this out there. I started typing the word theater rhythm into Google.
And theater rhythm is a better game.
And it started auto-completing to theater rhythm Kingdom Hearts. And now I'm just left with the question, why didn't they just make that?
I don't know.
Because theater rhythm's not a bad rhythm game.
Yeah, and like, you know, it's also a different art style for some of the bits and pieces of that game where they could have adapted that to Kingdom Hearts. I don't know. I have no idea. It's not a bummer because I should have seen it coming, but it's not the best.
I mean, aren't you just used to it by now?
Yeah, I am.
long
used to facing.
Yeah, I was going to say, is this going to deter you in any way, shape, or form from purchasing any other Kingdom Hearts offshoots in the future?
No, I'm stuck in this way. Okay. It's a very toxic behavior. There's no support groups.
Do you think there's anything that could make you not a Kingdom Hearts fan anymore?
Nazis.
Okay. Yeah.
Probably.
Good answer.
Yeah. That's just that's just good life advice in general. When are they going to add X-Men to Kingdom Hearts? Like they're like, didn't they?
Let's get back to what really. Yeah,
Tron is in Kingdom Hearts.
Didn't they put Star Wars in there at some point, or did I dream that up?
No.
That's not a thing.
Because there'd be some Keyblade lightsaber that you would have seen by now that would have made you really mad.
It was Toy Story, right? Toy Story got in there.
Toy Story, yeah.
And then Tron got in there. And then I feel
Big Hero 6 is in there.
Other Disney acquisition then made it in there, right? I can't remember.
I think you're thinking of Disney Infinity when they started rolling all that stuff together there.
Maybe that's it.
That's another odd thing is that the Final Fantasy presence in this game is next to none. Even in the cutscenes, it's all just the Kingdom Hearts characters and whatever Disney characters pop up. I don't think I've seen a Squall or like an Aerith at all.
Do you think that maybe like the Final Fantasy team got to a point where they're like, hey, leave us out of your fucking weird shit? Perhaps people like this remake. Stop fucking, don't fuck this up for us.
We're finally on an upswing. Just get out of here.
God damn it.
Final Fantasy is saying, leave us out of your weird shit. You've gone too far.
Chat points out that the Simpsons are now eligible to appear in Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, sure.
Oh, boy.
So, we'll leave that there, I guess. What is this?
Stevens X Kingdom Hearts.
What is I have to know. What is this available on, and what does it cost?
It's available on everything minus PC for $60.
Okay. Old everything, not new. It's not
old everything. Okay, old everything. Yeah.
Playable on new
old
everything. I would assume.
Yeah.
But not new everything.
Oh my God.
Priced.
Bart Simpson is going to have an interaction with Donald Duck. I'm calling this now, where he goes, "Eat my shorts," and then Donald Duck looks down.
Maybe you should be writing for Kingdom Hearts.
I'm going to submit this.
That's right. Just send him a spec script. Boy. All right. Well, thank you for doing your due diligence, Jan.
It's my annual duty.
It's always appreciated. Oh man, Ben, what's up with Yakuza? How is that going?
It continues to be just incredible. I'm so smitten with this game. The story jealous. Is really. I'm in the back third. Let's say I'm actually probably pretty close to the end, and it's like weaving back in storylines that I thought they would never be able to pull off. It's tremendous. I've kind of started mainlining it a little bit. I've done most of the outside of it'll unlock new sub stories, side story stuff every chapter. But I've done all the mini games that I want to see through. All the management sim stuff. At this point, I'm just kind of charging through the end. I got the last character in my party who's great. Every character they have added to the team feels like just a home run. It's really a tremendous game.
Are there any returning characters at all?
I guess if there are, it's people I don't recognize. So I don't think so. I mean, there's a lot of costumes. Every character has alternate costumes. So I have my Namba dressed up like God, what's his name? The eye patch guy. Why is his name
Kiryu?
No, that's the main guy. Majima. I had a guy dressed up as Kiryu, but yeah.
Isn't Majima in the game at all? I thought I saw him in one of the cutscenes, but I could be mistaken. I'm sorry.
No, I mean my black mage character, homeless ex-nurse has an eye patch and is dressed up like him.
Oh, gotcha.
Wait, did you say black mage?
Oh yeah. I mean,
is that a job?
Sorry, his actual job title is homeless person, which is the sort of caster class that he uses fire attacks and pigeon attacks.
Okay.
Oh.
As well as debuffs enemies with his stinky breath.
Oh,
that'll happen.
Okay.
How's the combat kind of evolved over time, or has it?
it evolved to a certain point. I'd say about halfway through the game, it kind of reached a point where nothing quite new was being introduced. And at that point, from kind of the mid on, it's very much just like enemies have more health. You know, there's not a lot of new tricks being rolled in, which is fine. I mean, you know, most JRPGs, you know, don't have like their combat. They'll throw in like things here and there, but like I think it's pretty standard as far as JRPGs go to like kind of hit a point where it's like, okay, you know how the combat in this game works. Now it's about maximizing your spells, like learning resistances and weaknesses of enemies, you know, just the fine tuning the details, getting your armor better. Like there's like a forge and you can upgrade your weapons and stuff there. And you start unlocking different weapons that have elemental damages tied to them. So you can be like, okay, I know in this mission we're going to be up against a lot of like thug type characters, so Yakuza people, and they're weak to cold, and so let me go in and craft some cold gear and equip that and that sort of stuff.
Ooh, Ben, does this do the thing where if the main character dies, you fail the game?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
There are some ways to mitigate that. I've had an item equipped on my main character that's like if you reach 0 HP, you'll revive once and the thing will break. You can craft those. They're hard to come by, but I feel like slapping one of those on Ichiban is like a pretty safe way to go. I just unlocked the ability to revive teammates too with a spell. The idol class is kind of your healer class, and she'll bring them back. There's I've been going through and grinding the summons in that game. They're on another level. Like I think we all saw the like crawfish one where he calls the like storm of crawfish down from the heavens. They only get better. Like there's I had one that's like you have a side story there's this like washed up Korean actor, and he's like this like you go through the whole game kind of like finding him at bars and trying to slap him into his senses. And then you find out like he has this whole thing involved with his manager, blah, 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 blah. One thing leads to another. You save him, you get him back in his acting career, and then you can summon him in a battle. And basically like his big movie is this, it's called like Our Eternal Sonata. And it's about this like couple in a snowstorm, and it's like reenact, like you call him on the phone, and this like storm sets in, and you see this woman, and she's like, I'm so cold. And you see him like appear behind her and embrace her. And he's like, I'll never let you out of my sight. And then the blizzard like keeps swelling out, and it starts.
Oh,
I'm getting too heated about this.
Wow.
It like the blizzard starts hitting the enemies around them as these two like have this loving embrace. It's so silly and so over the top in a way that like, but it's all grounded in reality. It's like nobody's like turning into a dragon. It's just like, it's like that.
No, they're just picking up the phone and making crawfish fall out of the sky.
Yeah. Like, it's not
normal
full on
gangster
anime.
stuff.
It's
Normal
like
Yakuza stuff.
90% anime. Oh, it's so silly. Like it just really treads the line so well of being really silly, but like have actual emotional weight to the main story.
I mean, with how many hours in are you at this point?
Somewhere between 50 and 60. I think I've got like 1 or 2 chapters left. And yeah, I can't wait to finish it. I'm probably not going to 100% it because then I have to like relearn how to play Mahjong or something, so I have to go in there to the Mahjong parlors, and there's like other gambling stuff for games that I just don't want to learn. But like, I think I'm going to try and do as many of the side stories as I can. Those, have varying quality. Like most video game side quests, but I like that none of them, most of them are like have several lines of dialogue with somebody and then eventually fight a couple guys. Like that's how 70% of the side stories play out, but they're at least interesting, kind of what you're having the characters do and going through.
Can you summon the piss wizard?
I cannot at this time summon the piss wizard.
Missed opportunity.
I don't know if there's like some late game stuff.
Well, isn't the piss wizard a bad guy?
He was, but sometimes I had to fight that actor, and then he befriended me. So
okay.
Is this the jumping off point for a new, let's say, 6-game arc of Yakuza games like last? Because if so, there's plenty of time yet for the Piss Wizard to get his due.
I definitely think they could go back into the Ichiban story. There's sometimes you meet a character and they'll say like, oh, I knew this other character you've been dealing with before, because like there's a 18-year period at the beginning where your character is in prison and stuff is still happening in the real world with the Yakuza. So like they could dip back into that. Like they leave it I haven't finished it, but I assume they're going to leave it in a place where like, yes, you complete the main emotional arc of this character, but like it's not gonna. It's like, oh, everything is at peace now in the world and everyone is happy. Like, no, it's a very. It does deal with the largest Yakuza clan in Japan, but like or in Tokyo at least, but like it's not. You're saving the country, though. The story does go to some pretty extreme places, like on a political level. Like they're making some swings here about like, let's say, democracy as a whole and like how easy it could be to manipulate it, that I really am kind of applauding their efforts here. Like they're making some statements about the world in this game.
Politics are weird in Japan from the little I understand.
Yeah, like I'm definitely missing some context there, but they do a decent job explaining like the larger points of like why certain things happening are a big deal or how certain things could happen.
Just watch out if the Piss Wizard runs for office.
Yeah,
the Piss Wizard's right in Piss Wizard. Problems.
Yes, indeed.
Piss Wizard's got my vote.
Okay,
character you'd most like to party with.
We're bringing it back.
Oh, there's some other characters in that game. The baby men.
I don't know, man. Piss Wizard does his thing. It's kind of the end of the party. You know what I mean?
Or maybe, but a different party starts in its wake.
Starts somewhere else.
And you have to decide which end of that you're on.
Everybody has to make their own choices. Jan and Ben, you guys were playing some, what is it, In Silence last week?
In Silence.
You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah.
Is that I don't mean to be dismissive of anything, but is that this week's Phasmophobia? What?
Sure.
Yeah.
Seems like a lot of that stuff happening lately.
Yeah, Jan and I and Abby and Vinny have been tinkering around with those kind of. It is like Phasmophobia. Did I say it right? I always say it wrong.
Phasmophobia.
Phasmophobia. It is like Phasmophobia in that it is a game where proximal voice chat comes into play in a big way. It is as like 3-on-1, or I guess there could be more than 3, but it is like one monster, several survivors sort of thing where the survivors need to talk to each other, but the monster is blind and can only use audio cues to find the survivors. And so like when you start talking to each other, it's going to pick up. I think those games are like way more fun than I thought they were going to be. I don't know about you, Jan.
Yeah, I mean, like, you'll watch like a video or like a Twitch streamer like playing it and just like groan because it looks like 50 other games. But playing it with people and like using the positional audio properly, like it's really neat. I was really skeptical of it at first because like from a production standpoint, like it just sounds like a nightmare to balance audio if like someone is physically far away in the game. But how it's implemented, it's really neat because there'd be moments where I'd be whispering, trying to find Ben, and then Ben and I would just be whispering to each other, hiding in a car, waiting for Abby, and the next thing we know, Abby screams like a couple seconds later because she's just been killed by Vinny. And like
there's
that
a fun thing where in that game, when you in Silence, when you die, you turn into a rat. And when you're a rat, you can really only run, jump, and squeak. You have like a squeak on cooldown. And you can't talk to the players anymore, but the players can talk to you. So we like started establishing a system where Abby would be like, okay, 1 jump means yes, 2 jumps means no. And then like as a rat, you can move around the map really fast and you know where certain hidden things are. So you can like help lure the people to the stuff. It's really interesting.
Yeah. And since the monster is like super sensitive to sound, you can like mess up the monster by squeaking all the time.
Man, the In Silence meta got really weird really fast.
Or you can help the monster. Like there was one point where I was definitely trying to lead the monster to the car to help.
Does the audio, does the voice stuff sound convincingly like it's there in the game? Like does the positional stuff actually come across, or does it just feel like artificial?
It mostly works.
Okay, because like I remember like thinking all the way back to like the first Xbox when the headset started coming out for that thing, and like PC games started getting voice chat. Like, I immediately thought like, oh man, like every game now it's going to sound like people's voices are coming out of their characters, and it's going to be real, and like that's just what everybody's going to do. And then nobody actually did that.
Well, it's like I feel like games tried when that first started happening, but it always sucked. And like from a competitive multiplayer standpoint, it was like, oh, people just want to talk to their team. But I always like the idea of just like if you talk in game, the other team might hear you, you know, if they're close to you or something like that. I feel like I can't remember. Some games definitely did try to do that also, but the tech for making, you know, because like those microphones sucked. Most microphones suck. And making that sound like realistic and good and not just like someone shouting into a shitty microphone but turned down because they're 10 feet away. Like it just never quite worked right. But
yeah, I think it definitely handles the like when somebody's far away, it feels like they're far away.
Yeah,
cool.
It gets a little muddier when you're up close on somebody and it just sort of sounds like normal voice chat. It also gets a little muddy when there's like sometimes the thing will show who's speaking, including the monster. And this is a very specific problem to streaming the game, but like, you know, when Abby was the monster and she was streaming, she doesn't want to just sit there in silence. Hey, that's the name of the game. Because it's boring. And so she'll talk a little bit. And then if you're far enough away that you can't actually hear what she's saying, but the game says you are close enough that you should be hearing what they're saying, it'll pop up their username on the side of the screen. Mm-hmm. And so like, you know, you could kind of cheese it a little bit that way. But like, I feel like these games anyway are always best when you're playing with friends and, you know, you're just going to like fuck around and not really care about who's winning or whatever. One little thing, it's a super small detail, but something that In Silence does that a lot of similar games don't do, which I think should be totally the norm for those kinds of games, is you can toggle on or off if you want to be the monster. So we all had a chance to try it once because like after we'd beat it, we'd toggle it off. And that way it wasn't just like with Among Us, you know, you could go like 7-8 games in a row without being an imposter. And you can just be like, man, I just want to be an imposter once. I think that's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's cool. Games out there making good on that idea, the voice chat stuff. Yeah. It just seems like a lot of them out of nowhere at exactly the time when everybody's stuck at home wanting to play games with each other. I don't know. It's just kind of weird.
Yeah.
Especially in the wake of Among Us, I don't know.
I think Among Us and games like this are proving that, like, you don't really need your game to be, like, if you have one good idea, one solid idea, and I don't know, like, these games are relatively simple, right? Like, it's just go to, like, In Silence, to win the game, it's like go find 6 parts of the car, put them in the car, drive away, and you win. Among Us, you run around a map and you do some WarioWare minigames.
And like, you lie to people.
Even like Fall Guys is like you have a run and a jump, and that's kind of it. Like we're in a weird point where like social gaming used to just be like, I don't know, it's a relatively new concept in the like multiplayer games go way back. But like these kind of like social connected games, you know, I think of like Facebook games, I think of like Farmville and shit like that, where it's like, and then that evolves into like these games that are just like there for not even necessarily gamers to play. Games that are like basically a Second Life chat room, right? When it boils down to it, they're like a slightly more interactive virtual chat room.
Yeah, like not everything is a shooter that is super popular now. Like that's that's really what it is.
Yeah. It's cool. It's cool to see this evolve because like I have tons of friends that are like on Discord that I'm chatting with now that 3 years ago I would have never convinced to play a video game online with me outside of like maybe I could talk them into playing like whatever the most popular game is. Like these are non-gamers getting into the medium, and I think it's just good for games overall because like it leads them to other stuff that they might find interesting and leads them to indie stuff.
Are we headed for Among Us merch? You think we're gonna get there? Like,
there's already.
I'm googling Among Us Funko.
Like there's already like Etsy shops.
Okay, well, yeah, like homebrew stuff for sure. But I'm talking like I'm basically talking like the next time that I am brave enough to go to the Walgreens, is there going to be like an Among Us strategy guide right there at the register, and like
there's going to be a kid wearing an Among Us shirt,
plushies and shit. Yeah, that's
oh god, there's going to be Hot Topic. It's going to be full of them.
Yes.
Little squishy space people.
We have to get there, right?
I think it's interesting because like even before some of this stuff, there was stuff like Space Team.
Yeah.
Oh, Space Team's so cool.
Yeah, Space Team was really good with this stuff, and Space Team, I think they did a VR version of that eventually or something.
Yeah.
And we're also at a time when just two $500 consoles out there that are trying to be like we can run we'll do 8K. We'll do 8K or 120. So it's this weird split happening where you've got like, hey, obviously there are going to be people that really care about the power end of things and want to play the games that benefit from that sort of thing. Meanwhile, the most popular games in the world are increasingly, and that makes sense. I mean, that's always, because that just means more people can play them.
They're phone games.
Phone game. Yeah,
Among Us is a phone game.
Yeah, and we'll end up in that situation where, like, all these games that are playing against the whole notion of that. That's why, like some of the talk about like Switch 2 or let's do an upgraded Switch. I'm like, yeah, they should, because the games they're making on it don't run well. And if they want to keep making those kinds of games, they probably needed to do that. But as like the Vita 2, here's the place to play a bunch of indie games if you don't want to play it on a PC. Yeah. Like, it's still awesome for that because it doesn't need the power.
Yeah.
You can do it on your phone with some of these games.
Right. Yeah, totally. Yeah. And I mean, so we get down the streaming rabbit hole, if the Xbox stream stuff really takes off, then that'll open up another era of games to players or whatever on those devices. It's a fascinating time.
I can't help laughing listening to you talk about that, because like, did you ever think when like a million shitty flip phones were showing up with a bunch of like Java and Brew games installed on them, that was like going to become the biggest thing in the world?
No. When we started covering J2ME games and Brew games and stuff like that,
fucking Doom RPG,
and Doom RPG was the coolest thing in the world because
so good.
It's so good.
Mean, granted, Doom RPG is pretty fucking cool.
It's great. But yeah, it was just, like the popular games were like, here's another blackjack. Like, how many blackjack games is Verizon going to put on its storefront? And all that stuff. It just looked embarrassing. And I feel like it wasn't until even when the iPhone came out, it was still like, hey, God, what was I'm trying to remember what there was like Dungeon Raid.
Yeah. God, I don't know, man. Like, fucking, there are a bunch of Endless Runners probably were the first like major iPhone games I can remember.
Cannibal,
Doodle Jump,
Doodle Jump, yeah.
The Jetpack,
even Doodle Jump was not later.
Jetpack Joyride, I forget.
Where's My Water? Rope, all the fucking hot shit. Yeah, it's
Fruit Ninja chat reminds me of Fruit Ninja.
Oh, for sure.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah,
I'm sorry, I'm just busy over here Googling Doom RPG to see if there's still a way to play that.
They're getting, there is a J2ME emulator, I think. Okay. I don't know how accomplished it is, but Doom RPG also came out for iPhone at some point.
It totally did. It's 99 cents. I have to get that.
Yeah. And then they did it, there was a Doom 2 RPG, and then they didn't do a hex. There was not a heretic.
They did
something else though, didn't
Orcs
they?
and Elves, I believe, in that same
that's
engine,
what it was. Yeah,
which was like an original game, which was not.
Like Carmack was like, "What if we did a game with orcs and elves?"
They should have made a BJ Blazkowicz RPG.
There was a Wolfenstein RPG.
Was there really?
Yeah, they did it. They did that also. Like, it is very much
they totally did.
In the vein of Doom RPG.
Holy shit.
Like that.
I mean, if Yakuza 7 taught me anything, you can make anything in an RPG now. So maybe there's hope for a Doom RPG 2.
I'll take it. Doom 3 RPG. Let's make it happen. You have to charge up your MP to use the flashlight.
Yeah.
Jeff, how's the next gen life treating you? Excuse me, the current gen life.
I'm living in the past.
Yeah, it's fine. I have disconnected the external drive from my PlayStation 5, and
it seems like the thing for now. If you want to play it safe,
I'm still getting some crashes, but fewer.
Huh. I never even hooked mine up after everybody started reporting all those problems. I was just like, I'm gonna treat this thing very gently for the first couple months.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I've been just kind of going through some of that stuff here and there. So they just updated Spider-Man Remastered, I think yesterday, the day before, or they updated original Spider-Man to where you could upload your save out of that and then download it into the PS5 remaster, which does the right thing and pops all the trophies that you're eligible for as soon as you download the save.
Yeah.
So if you want free trophies, do that, I guess.
And to be clear, like if you have the cloud save, you could download the PS4 version of Spider-Man to your PS5 just to upload that save, right?
That is exactly what I had to do.
And then delete it and then reinstall the PS5.
That is exactly what I had to do.
Provided you didn't just get hit with the Comcast data caps expanding into a bunch of new regions today.
Oh, man.
And you don't want to download an extra like 60, 70 gigabytes of Spider-Man just to transfer a save.
Spider-Man PS4 is larger than PS5.
I saw that. Like 25, I think they said like 25% smaller on the PS5. So
something like that.
All those mailboxes and phone booths they took out actually made a difference.
It's I am really surprised isn't the word. I think it's impossibly stupid that is the route Sony has chose to do save sharing across versions of games. If you want to upgrade a save from PS4 to PS5, like the notion that you have to launch the game, and we talked about this some last week, but like doing it again with Spider-Man, a Sony published game, was like another thing of just like, what the fuck? Like, let the PS5 game access the cloud save for the PS4 version and just get it.
Yeah.
Instead, I have to download like 60 gigs of Spider-Man just to do this in 20 seconds and then delete the whole fucking thing again. It's insane.
Yeah.
That is the route they chose for this. I just don't it just feels so cobbled together or just like so poorly thought out or not thought about. They were just like, oh, some developers want to do this. Well, developers are free to do it, I guess. And that's as far as they got. They didn't say like, and here's a way for you to do it. But it's crazy to me.
I was lurking on a message board the other day and I witnessed basically the nightmare scenario being discussed of some guy had inadvertently downloaded the PS4 version of Spider-Man of Miles Morales on his PS5. And both he and the people responding to him could not figure out how to swap that out for the PS5 version.
Well, even if you do, I don't think the saves transfer.
That may well be the case, but he couldn't even figure out how to like change versions to download the other one. And at the end of the conversation, he was like, "You know what? The kids won't know the difference. I'm just going to let it go."
Oh, damn.
That is the I bought an HD TV and plugged fucking composite cables into it of this generation.
Yeah.
You know, that is totally insane.
Like, it's crazy that this is a problem.
It's just wild that they did not craft a better solution for this stuff for this. And you know, that OS stuff will eventually like get there, right? They'll clean up the OS, it'll stop crashing as much. They'll find better ways to differentiate between versions of games. Yeah. They need to.
As we've been talking about this, I thought back on, do you remember like when every major point release of PS4 firmware came out, it straight up had like a PS blog post with like basically patch notes? Yep. It was just like, here's all the stuff we've added in firmware 4.0. And it was like a lot of stuff, you know, like I think the precedent is there for them to fix and add all kinds of stuff that this thing needs.
Of course. Yeah. You know, and I think they've said that like the variable refresh rate stuff isn't even in the firmware yet, right? They have to put that in too. So, you know, they have to put in the external, the internal drive support still. Because that's another thing. Like the drive space on the PlayStation 5 is just straight up inadequate. Just like unacceptably so in a way that like the $500 entry point at some point you're like, you know what? This is really more like a $700. You know, it's
people getting like 3 to 4 games, right? Like max. And it's just
I think I have 8 or 9 installed right now. It's not
better than I thought, but I would like Spider-Man is a pretty good example. Like the games do seem a little smaller than I expected, except for like I think you said Call of Duty is like a crazy outlier, right? Like,
so that is not as bad. Like that initially, the preload for that was 200 gigs, but that's because it auto magically downloaded both PS4 and PS5.
Right,
and that's a mess. So I don't know if you remember how this stuff was on, like Modern Warfare on PS4 last year. They tried to do some weird shit with like, oh, you can choose what you want to install first if you're downloading it to download the multiplayer first, and it was like a kind of a test bed. And then eventually they upgraded it to be like, oh, well, you can uninstall the special ops mode, and you know they eventually worked on that over the course of the year of Modern Warfare, and I think it was relatively recently that they said you can install a campaign now. But it's weird because like Warzone, the battle royale mode for Black Ops Cold War, it looks like when you hit that on the main menu of that, it launches Modern Warfare or Warzone if you have the free to play, because it's a free to play shell or whatever. So rather than having that integrated directly into Black Ops, there's that. And so as a result, or I don't know if it's as a result of this or what, but like when I go look at the installed like optional content for Black Ops Cold War, it has a bunch of like campaign pack 1, 2, 3, and then it says like shared with Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
What?
And like there's a bunch of like cross links between the files where it says where it shows up on both versions of the game, even though the Black Ops campaign obviously doesn't attach to the. It's just like a lot of messy.
Cool in concept if they use it right, but also potentially pretty confusing.
Yeah, so it does end up being weirdly confusing.
Yeah,
and
I'm
I'm not sure what they're going to do with that or why it is that way, but it's or why the DLC shows up, why the optional installs show up on both games, because that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But yeah,
there are some cool ideas around some of that stuff. Like I can't remember what the option is called, but it's something like a manage installed content, or it might be the same thing you're talking about. But like if you pop that on Demon's Souls, you get a gigantic list of other languages you can download, and there's like 15 or 20, I want to say there. Like way more than they would ever offer in the like base install in a previous generation, you know?
Yeah.
It's like they only serve you, I assume, the one that is attached to your region, I would guess. Like that
makes sense.
It only auto-downloaded English for me, but then there's this huge list of like I'm pulling stuff out of the air here, but I want to say there's even like Polish and stuff like that on there. Like you could really just
some of those games
like
I think
cool.
I think Black Ops has a lot of languages also optionally. Or Watch Dogs does.
And that seems like the route to them actually doing the thing they said they were going to do of like, hey, you can like delete the campaign later if you don't want it anymore and just keep the base multiplayer install or something.
Yes, if more developers kind of support that. The managed game content stuff has been a little weird because like there are games that definitely have DLC that like I think I at least want to see a list to make sure it is installed or what I own and all that stuff. But sometimes it'll just say, you have 3 things installed. There's nothing more for you to install. There's no way to uninstall anything. It just lets you know, you got some stuff installed. You're like, well, what is it? Wait,
what? Don't worry about it.
Okay. And so sometimes that menu, I feel like that menu could be more useful if they showed more stuff there than they do. But the language stuff there, I think in the like game defaults system setting thing, I think there's a language there.
Oh, cool.
So I think you could probably say like, yo, get German. And it would try to get
Xbox, PlayStation, you'll get German.
Love to get German.
Get German with it.
Or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. It's I don't know. I played some Sackboy. It's like they made a Little Big Planet game and stripped out the cool parts of Little Big Planet to just make kind of a platformer that's not as good as Astro.
Well, that's a high bar, to be fair.
But Astro, well, I mean, I don't think Sackboy is especially great as a video game. It's very charming in the same way that,
it looks very good. How far did you get? I played a few levels into it, and it is like painfully straightforward.
Yes, that is my problem with it, is that it is exceedingly straightforward.
There's not a lot of thought to everything you're doing. You just kind of run up stuff and hit it and move on.
Yeah. Mm. And there are hidden little areas and you get bonus, there's stuff, but it doesn't.
I like the additional costumes and stuff. It's a big hit in the house.
Yeah, totally. I'm sure
my family plays it.
Kids love it. And does it have the local co-op already? I think it does, right?
Yeah.
It's just the online co-op that's getting added later.
I believe that's the case.
Yeah. I could totally see that thing being like just catnip, kidnip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, I think Sackboy should look like Sackboy. That's. I don't like. I got to the costume shop and was like, "Oh, look at all these costumes! I'm Sackboy." He looks like a sack
with a face.
Keep going.
Sackboy should have a face.
That's right. And
also, there's a pronounced lack of the Go Kids in that game.
Or the Go Team.
Go Team. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go Team.
No, there's the soundtrack is good. The soundtrack.
Whatever. It's fine.
Evokes. It does the thing.
Yeah.
It fits with what they've done in the past.
That game looks really nice though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know that I love the look of it. Anyway, whatever. It's just doesn't seem like a great game. Especially compared to Astro. I started inching my way into the leaderboard struggles.
Oh no.
In Astro's Playroom, and then realized like, oh, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
I keep thinking about it because they keep serving me those notifications. It's like, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like, yes, you keep taunting me with this, I'm going to jump back in there.
Yeah, I spent some time yesterday, like improving upon the times I had. So I hadn't really played much of it since before the console launched. And when the PS5 launched, or the day before it launched, I was like number 10 in the world with total time in the or somewhere around there, top 10 in the total time for the speedrun mode. And then launch night, I just started getting all the notifications about how I was getting beat by everybody, and I was like, oh, fuck this. It's really cool that they serve these up, but oh god, fuck this.
That's the curse of playing games early. You get a taste of ambrosia and they knock you off your fucking pedestal.
Yeah, man. And
never to return.
So I turned it on yesterday and saw that I was like in the 40,000th.
Yep.
For some of these levels, and I was like, well, clearly I can do better than that. And then improved on my times, looked at my friends list, saw times that were like 6 or 7 seconds faster than what I had done, and went just like, okay, fuck this. I can't. I can't get sucked into this. I'm not. Especially after watching some of the faster runs online.
Yeah, do you get the sense like, do you have to like find unconventional shortcuts to really get the times in that thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yes. There's a video of Jeff Grubb doing the first speedrun level that is dark. That I just looked at it and went like, fuck this. Yeah, it is bypassing a large part of the level. It is like very much like jump on this and diagonally jump away like immediately again to bypass the rest of this.
I didn't know Jeff Grubb rolled like that.
It's fucking nasty.
Any of the Demon Souls speedrun shit that's been going on? Because that's pretty fascinating.
I don't remember if original Demon Souls had this or not. It's cool. Maybe the old one did. But if you go all the way to the top of the Nexus, the very top floor, there's just like this pantheon of like statue pedestals. And every time you run up to one, it like fills in the silhouette of a character of a top player. And it's it's
cool.
like it's ranked by like I think like number of players killed and number of monsters killed and maybe like speed like times through the game or something. Anyway, like a bunch of the clear times on there were like 3-4 hours for some of those characters, and like it's cool that you can actually like see all those characters of people that are doing that stuff.
Yeah.
I haven't tried it yet. I keep
play it.
I want to, but it's one of those things where I keep thinking like, well, I feel like I need more time than I have right now to start Demon Souls.
I would almost say it's like actually a good game to play piecemeal, because it is probably the most broken up into levels of any of those games. In fact, it absolutely is. Like the structure of it is like, I don't think this language or this terminology ever appears in the game, but back in the day, I think people would basically refer to those levels as like 1-1, 1-2, 3-1.
Oh,
because it literally is a sequence of like 6 worlds with like 4 levels per. So, and you just warp back and forth between the beginnings of each level. So it is actually broken up in a way that you can actually consume it over a long period of time.
Yeah, but I almost the time I almost started it was the time I said like, no, I'm going to see what Sackboy's all about, because I haven't really played it yet, and fired up that for a little bit instead. And I've been chipping away at Watch Dogs I've been playing the PS5 version of that, because it seems like it runs a little better there than it does on Xbox. It seems like it's probably close, but I just something about the frame rate, sense of speed while I was driving just felt a little tighter on PS5. That's a comparison video I would certainly watch if it exists, because I'm curious now if my brain is just inventing that or not.
Digital Foundry's been cranking a bunch of those out. I don't know if they did those two. I think they did more like PC versus console on Watch Dogs, if I remember. But I think there's a surprising number of PS5 games coming out on top in those comparisons from what I've been seeing, which is like the opposite of the pre-release narrative of the Series X being more powerful.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, that'll be. I want to know what that's going to look like as that shakes out over the next year or so. If that's a case of like, there's just something about Xbox you got to take advantage of, or not. Or
I mean, maybe the development libraries weren't there at launch, or
right. Yeah.
PS4 being lead SKU could be trickling over to this generation. Maybe they're putting more time into the PS5 versions because of
just anticipating that that's going to be the one that matters.
Install base, who knows what's going on there? But yeah, a year from now we'll see.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Like I I started playing Watch Dogs in a much more flippant way.
Okay,
of just like, oh, I don't actually care about any of these characters,
or
like the way
to play that game.
Like I could very carefully, slowly skulk around and choke everyone out and just play the stealthy way, and that's like definitely a right way to play it. But then I was just like, because I've played that game on 3 different platforms up to a certain point, and then had either I lost my save or on played it on Xbox for a while and ran into some stuff there, and I was like, okay, I'm going to play it on PS5 because that seems like unless I go upgrade my PC substantially, that's going to probably be the best way to play this game. And so I had to replay the early parts of the game again. And so definitely second time around is a lot of just like, oh, I could snake my way through here and choke this guy and make him invisible and all this stuff. It's like, oh, or I could just hack this car and have it fucking back over him. And so it's a lot more of that, of just like, fuck the consequences, murder these people, or just deal with them a little more efficiently and quickly, because I've just gotten better with the tool set and stuff. And so in that way, I think it's fun. I still think the story sucks, and all that sort of stuff. But like in terms of just like, and a lot of the mission design is so flat and old feeling in a lot of ways too. But the tool set they give you to play with is fun if you really embrace it and just say, I'm going to use all of these parts to do the dumbest shit imaginable, and like successfully get my way through these missions. On top of that, I think that's actually the fun way to play it. As I thought about it more, like I still haven't, the game that does have a permadeath option, I haven't turned it on because like going and recruiting more characters is like only interesting up to a point. And I feel like now I've seen so many different traits and stuff that I just like don't care. Like most of them so don't matter that it's this feeling of just like, oh, that is not the interesting part of the game. The interesting part is just like just running through these missions and doing the dumbest shit imaginable and still coming out on top because the game is actually pretty forgiving and in some cases kind of broken in ways that you can exploit. Like I had a mission objective last night when I was playing that was like, survive this ambush for 1:30. And it was like 4 guys ran up with guns. I shot 2 of them. The other 2 just sat there and never left cover. So I just took my hands off the controller and let the timer tick down.
All right.
And then ran away. And it was just like, yeah, I don't know. It's a game with problems. I certainly don't think I would recommend it, but there is certainly fun to be had in there as well.
Yes. Ambitious in some ways and very uneven.
Yeah, very uneven. Yeah. Very uneven.
Yeah. What if it was a turn-based RPG?
Now you're talking. All right, yeah. Turn-based hacking RPG. All right.
Watch Dogs like a dragon.
Yeah.
Okay.
I started playing Spider-Man Remastered, just to because I'm significantly better at Spider-Man than I was when I first played original Spider-Man when it came out, where I was actually pretty fucking bad at it for a while.
I saw they said when they tweeted about the save upgrade patch, they said they also fixed the rest mode crashy stuff.
Yes, that game had some rest mode crashes. And so I wonder now, like, and now I'm just like fucking really gonna extra talk out my ass here for a minute, but I wonder if there's just some like, hey, the version of the SDK we gave developers at launch had some fucking rest mode problems, and now everyone's got to, because like Call of Duty, even without that drive plugged in, I had Call of Duty completely just shut down a PS5. No Man's Sky shut down when I tried to launch it and stuff like that. So I wonder if every game is going to have some kind of patch where they're like, hey, we fixed the rest mode stuff along with some firmware update or what. But like, it's weird that is a problem. It doesn't seem like it's like mega widespread, but I've definitely been hearing from people that like Miles Morales crashed on them here and there. And, it's like, games crash now, nothing's perfect, but it just seems like slightly more widespread than you'd want.
Yeah.
Not like catastrophic, like all these consoles are broken.
Like we need a mass recall bad.
It's like there's something going on here, but it's probably something they can fix in software.
It's never fun and it's kind of unsettling for your expensive brand new console to be acting like that. But like I'm not going to give them a total pass, but I'm going to cut them some slack. Just
known shippable.
Yes, with the way that this whole thing has gone down.
I will just say, as someone who was skeptical of rest mode type options and suspend modes coming out of the previous generation, they are not selling me on this.
Yes, it is. It's worrisome, but like, you know, if they're still here in 6 months, then it will be a severe problem. But like for now, I'm going to give them a little bit of latitude, just because.
A lot of stuff came in real hot.
I can't imagine shipping these things in the middle of all this was a good time.
Right.
So
yeah, I think there's a Jim Ryan quote out there saying like, "Hey, maybe don't ship a console in a pandemic."
Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
Maybe don't do that again.
I mean, I just making chit chat with one of the PR people who helped us set us up with the review units. Like, they had not seen hardware in person when they were helping us with that process. You know,
wow.
Yeah,
they're helping launch a product they hadn't even seen yet.
Yeah,
you know, like it's a lot for people for sure.
Yeah.
Real quick, just as a kind of counterpoint to your PS5 install stuff, I picked up one of the Seagate Xbox cards, the 1 terabyte expansion.
Nice.
Thing is about as straightforward and simple as you could possibly expect. Like,
that's good.
I literally didn't even move the Xbox out of the entertainment center. I just felt around for the slot in the back, shoved it right in there, like popped right up. You don't have to format it or anything. It just adds to your storage.
Cool.
It does not, I guess I get why they do this, but I kind of wish you had an option. It does not just merge with your internal storage and make one giant 2 terabyte drive.
Okay.
So you still, and I think you talked about this with external SSDs. It still does the thing where, like, if you have the internal set to your, and I tested this intentionally, if you have the internal set to your default install location, the second that it's downloading a bunch of games and it gets to the next game that won't fit on the internal, it just hangs at a confirmation screen saying, "This won't fit. Do you want to install it on the other drive?" Which happens to be completely empty.
Right.
Like, yes, of course I do. I wish you would just know that.
Yeah, it should probably. And so that's the PS5 has a nice option where like it'll say, "Hey, do you want to install all PS4 games to your external drive?"
Yeah.
And Xbox probably needs something like that for Xbox One games.
Yeah.
Because instead, the option that I'm using is, and I just have an external drive and the internal. I don't have the plug-in card because I had to buy a new SSD for my actual desktop PC instead. So I set the external as my default install location because because then it tries to install everything there, and then when I'm downloading Series X games, it goes like, "Hey, you can't run it from here, right? Do you want to install it on the internal instead?" And then I can say yes. So it's like a different confirmation prompt that I have to deal with, but at least it kind of just puts everything where I want it out of the gate.
Yeah,
and
it's just a bummer for this thing because they are saying, and I assume this is definitely accurate, it is the same speed as the internal one. It's like you can play the games on either one of them. Like, just make that seamless. They're good at making everything else seamless with this thing.
Well, think about the use cases like, "Hey, I'm going to install certain games to this thing and then remove it and go take it somewhere else and plug it in."
That is 100% the reason they don't do that. I mean, I would love the option because I remember that I'd set that option and would abide by it. But yes, like, if you've got a Series S down the hall in your kid's room and you want to take that thing down there and like let them plug it in, like,
well, I wonder if that would even work in some cases because it might have to download a bunch of textures. Like, if is it gonna say like, "Hey, you need to download the Series S specific content for this"?
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, you're right.
I don't know what it does in that case.
Maybe it definitely should work. I think between plug and play between the same console.
Yeah,
but yeah, I didn't actually think about that. Huh. Weird. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. That thing's expensive, but like, it's it's about as kind of foolproof as you could possibly ask for, I think. So
yeah, I haven't. I mean, and maybe this speaks to the software library on the Xbox right now, but I have not run out of space there.
That is kind of the actual thing. Is so they
have more space. They have more than the PlayStation 5 for sure.
I think it's about 800 gig internal. I actually forgot to mention this. This Seagate card rings up at 920 gigabytes. So like, it's a good.
Cool.
It's a good chunk bigger than the internal storage. And I'm trying to think. Like, Master Chief Collection got updated, which is huge. I think that thing's like over 100 gig. Maybe one or two other things got updated. I forget, but yes, I downloaded every Series X optimized game I have access to across both of those things. It's like still stuff that is either has been out for a while or is out on other platforms as well.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you could certainly fill up that drive. I mean, there are enough games out. I just think about in terms of like games I'm likely to play that are Series X enhanced right now.
That's what I mean. It's just like
I don't need to have Gears 5 installed anymore. As much as I want to play as the New Day, I'll probably get that and look at it and go, yeah.
and
then uninstall it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what. Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. You know, it's just like it's all right. I've got the space now. Show me the full spread of games for this thing, and it's like it's all stuff I've played or could play elsewhere. When's Halo Infinite coming out? So
Yeah.
All right. Games. Break.
Okay. And break.
We have returned, and it is time to power through the news for the week. So buckle up.
Slick it or ticket, baby.
Sit in your news chair.
Oh, hang on.
Get your your gamer chair. Put away.
I left my news chair back in the bay.
Put your gamer chair away and roll out the business chair.
It's back at the office.
Yeah, they took mine. They took mine away. I had my 60 Minutes chair. They said I couldn't have it anymore.
There were these two guys fighting in the street behind me, and I had to move my gamer chair or my news chair.
All right, we'll roll with what we got for this week.
Oh yeah, the chairs roll.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Did you put on the?
I haven't put them on yet.
Oh, damn it! I want to hear about it.
Yeah, new wheels.
I want to hear.
Heelys? You got Heelys?
I want to hear.
I got Heelys for my chair.
I want to hear how good they have to be. I'm sure they're that good. I'm not buying new wheels till I get a new chair, but I want to hear about it.
Yeah.
Next week. All right. Here's what I got. Apple cutting their portion of App Store proceeds to 15% for any developers making less than $1 million a year, starting in 2021, which, as you might imagine, excludes Epic Games.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I wonder if this was prompted by anything.
I mean, take your pick. You know, like how much antitrust stuff in Europe do they have going on right now?
Right.
Sure.
There's the Epic stuff. The story on The Verge mentioned stuff that I was not even aware of. They had a dust up with WordPress at one point.
Oh,
really?
About in-app purchases. There's the...
Are you saying this isn't coming from the kindness of their hearts?
Probably not. You know, there's even the stuff with like Microsoft not being able to make an xCloud app, so they're having to pursue like browser-based solutions. I think I saw Stadia is close to a browser solution.
They
for
said that they
iOS.
would have a public test version in the coming weeks, I believe is what they said.
Yes. Apple kind of getting it on many sides from their different business partners at the moment over their policies. But short version is it doesn't go into effect until January, and you have to apply to get the cut, which
That's weird.
is kind of strange. This Verge story speculates that might be like an anti-fraud measure.
Okay, I guess.
I guess they're like looking at 2020 revenue to gauge eligibility for people. And that's kind of the long and the short of it. It doesn't do much for, again, the epics of the world.
Yeah. The long of it is, I read in the article that, anything that's under the 1 million makes up only like 5% of their annual revenue, which is minuscule. So this is like no big deal to them.
Yeah.
And also, like, it doesn't bode well for smaller developers because it's just going to get that much harder to get noticed, like in the store. Apple's not going to promote those guys,
Oh yeah, I guess they don't really have the incentive to promote
exactly
something where they're only getting the 15% cut and that sort of stuff. It's yes, but I would. The other thing I would say is that the App Store is already a nightmare for promotion,
right.
So it's not like it was great for them now. But
it's going to be that much harder.
True.
Yeah.
This really only matters for I feel like the people who are right on the cusp, or like larger, smaller people, right? Like,
what does this do to the developers they've partnered up with for like Apple Arcade?
This probably, those are all under separate agreements anyway, since that's just all part of that subscription service. So it probably doesn't do anything to their revenue.
Okay.
I would think unless you end up in a situation where they're courting a developer to say like, hey, we would like you to put your game into Apple Arcade. And they're like, well, actually, now that I'm getting 15% more here, maybe it's worth it for me. But I don't know enough about what Apple Arcade is paying to say how that math would work out.
I think I know the answer to this, but have any of you checked in on Apple Arcade lately?
No.
I've been thinking about it. Like, what games are there?
After that initial wave of hype, I kind of fell off.
I even stayed on for like 6 months and didn't really find anything worth playing after that.
Yeah, I feel like I see a press release come through, or like, I don't know, let's load up the App Store, because there's always a thing in there that is about Apple Arcade, but let's see what they are.
It's like how we always got a line in the, like, here's what's up with here's video games in the internal email.
Those guys.
Right. Here's what the Giant Bomb guys are doing.
Who knows?
Who knows?
What are we doing?
Crossy Road Castle is in Apple Arcade.
Okay. I like Crossy Road.
Something called Butter Royale. Ooh.
That sounds.
Is it baking based?
The Pathless is.
The Pathless is in there.
Okay.
I think the thing that started turning me off of Apple Arcade is that most of those games are available somewhere else. Yeah, they'll run better because my phone is a little older.
There was like one or two, like that one RPG we played, Jan, with the like teens.
Oh, right. Yeah, that was fun.
That was like literally the only actual Apple Arcade first game that I ever enjoyed on there. Oh no, the
Grindstone was good.
Yeah, Grindstone.
Yeah.
Even though it got too grindy.
But yeah, it just didn't seem to be. It didn't like. I'm still playing games on my phone, but they are not those games in a lot of cases. I think for reasons you said, like like a lot of those games that are available elsewhere, even if you don't have an older phone, I would still probably rather play them with a mouse or a keyboard or a controller or some other way than with the touchscreen. And I'm not a person that is going to keep a controller around paired to my phone ready to go for that, especially because I'm likely to be sitting in this exact spot with this monitor in front of me, like trying to set up a phone where I can hold a controller. It's just, I'm not going to do that. So
obviously weird special circumstances, but I feel like mobile devices are like 99% pointless for at least me right now. It's like I might as well not have a phone. Like I forget that I have a phone for like long periods of time these days.
I've been on my laptop has fallen into that trap where I've had to dig it out a couple days ago and was like, oh, this thing is like 9 versions behind and the battery's dead and why is it not booting? But so that's the thing, having a baby in the house, I'm not in this room very much anymore. So it's definitely like I'm on my phone way more, whether it's like, in a different room or also in bed. Like a lot of phone in bed time for me. You know what I mean?
I do. Hey. I wasn't going to say it, but I do.
Yeah.
A little torn talking about this story, but it's making enough news. I feel like we should. The Capcom ransomware attack that we mentioned last week.
Yeah.
Some more information is coming out of that, but specifically it's like a years-long release schedule that has been pulled from that breach. And like
years and years, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there's something a little voyeuristic about looking over this thing that they've certainly did not want to get out, but it is being reported widely what is on that list.
Yeah.
I was going to stick to this. I was going to stick to the way Eurogamer is reporting it because they treaded pretty lightly, I would say, on what the specifics are. But then IGN has a much more exhaustive list of the games and dates on that list. So
yeah,
like it's kind of a lot of stuff. Check this out. Let me just throw this out here. Street Fighter 6.
Hey, let me throw this out here. Super Street Fighter 6 and also Ultra Street Fighter 6.
God, you're right.
A year later
those
for
are
each.
Those are all on this list.
That's awful.
No.
I mean, you got to plan ahead for that stuff. That stuff just doesn't happen automatically, right? It's
I don't know about planning 3 games before you even release the first one.
Don't worry, Ben. It's not 3 games.
You're right. Actually, great point.
It's 1 game and DLC for that 1 game, and then potentially a new disc release that rolls.
Like a Game of the Year edition.
Game of the Year edition. It's
Yeah. I mean, it's the shit they've been doing since 4. Like, I get it, but like
just
seeing it laid out in front of you of like, okay, for Q3 of fiscal year 22, we've got Street Fighter 6,
like,
and then
Street Fighter 6 is a
Q4.
disaster?
the following year we got Super.
Like, what if Street Fighter 6 sucks absolute dog shit? I'm sure they like haven't actually started designing characters or whatever for Ultra Street Fighter 6.
Well,
but, like,
they're just looking at like budgeting. You know, like they probably have this on a release list, so they can go like, well, we're going to need additional budget to do the characters and content that we'll need to
they
put
have
out.
a rough idea of how many characters per pack, how many maps, how many costumes, all of that stuff.
And if Street Fighter 6 tanks, then they just go like, oh, well, we're not going to do those. And then they cut and run. But honestly, they didn't cut and run from 5.
Right.
And they kept putting out all that stuff. So it would be interesting to see how bad a game would have to do for them to say like, oh, we're done with Street Fighter 6.
Yeah, they stuck with it longer than anticipated.
I mean, this would be the first Street Fighter in a very long time without Ono involved, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, directly like supervising, because he has some other mysterious role now.
Oh, did he not leave the company? I thought he
Did he leave completely? I thought he just got shuffled around a little bit.
I could have sworn he straight up retired.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's like
left Capcom.
Okay.
That's
some absolute like fan service bangers on this list, though. Like probably 2 of the most requested Capcom things outside I can think of, like Darkstalkers, and because you see a Power Stone remake and a Dragon's Dogma 2.
Yep.
Yeah, those are. By and large, this is a whole lot of Resident Evil and somewhat less Monster Hunter. Pretty predictable stuff. But
what do you mean Resident Evil, Hank?
But those two definitely stand out as like the kind of like, whoa, what? Also a Final Fight remake.
Yeah. I
hope it's a remake of Final Fight Streetwise, the good Final Fight.
Right.
Finally. Yeah, nothing like wildly surprising in this. I mean, those. Yeah.
You got your Mega Mans, you got your Resident Evils, you got your Street Fighters. Yeah.
Well, the Mega Man game here is listed on this IGN list. And so they did say that sources confirmed to IGN that some of the games on the list are legitimate, including Dragon's Dogma 2 and Street Fighter 6.
Yeah.
But that the list could potentially be out of date and that sort of stuff. So
absolutely.
But they do have like the Mega Man game listed is Rockman Match, which to me sounds like a mobile match 3 game where I'm making 3 cut mans touch and then the blade appears on screen and cuts more gems or something, you know?
Okay.
So I wouldn't immediately be like, yeah, finally they're back in the Mega Man business.
I think it's a dating sim.
Back on board.
Yeah. All right. Roll's gonna choose somebody here.
Yeah.
RE4 remake.
Yeah, that's been rumored for some time. Like, I kind of wish they would chill on the remakes a little bit and do some more new stuff.
Well, okay, Street Fighter 6 then. There you go. What do you want? What do you want a Street Fighter 6 to be? What should a Street Fighter 6 be? Who should be in Street Fighter 6?
Hell yeah.
Hang on. Okay, let me just take a stab at this. Ryu.
Okay. All right.
Ken?
Spicy take there, Brad.
I don't know. So what made Street Fighter 4 so appealing to so many people was they're like, okay, let's bring it back to basics. Like let's kind of like 3 was great, but it like got really out of hand. Like let's make a game that's accessible, that's more like Street Fighter 2, and like I think they really succeeded in that regard. And then I was like, okay, for Street Fighter 5, maybe you start getting a little more out there, but it just felt like this weird half step in multiple directions, but not a full step in any one. So I think they just need to commit to something. I don't know. Like it's hard to think about because like personally, I like just Street Fighter. I like how like Street Fighter 2 plays. I like how Street Fighter 4 plays. Like I mean, Third Strike is obviously great, but that kind of feels like its own game.
Yeah, and so I just like what do people want out of a roster, especially when you consider like, oh, you know, they want to try to make these in a way that is going to appeal to a larger audience than just like the fighting game scene and stuff like that. So that I think that's why you have that case for like, well, we've got to make it something in that Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 4 accessibility vein and not like Street Fighter 3.
I would like to say
Panda in the chat here said, I think Street Fighter 6 needs a much more distinct art style. Street Fighter 5 just 100%. Didn't look visually different.
Exactly what I was about to say was as one of those like super casual, just kind of show up and play some Street Fighter when it's new types. Like thinking back on 5, I can barely distinguish it from 4, except for the ink stuff. Like 4 had more ink.
Yeah,
right.
But otherwise, like, they practically look like the same game in my memory. You know, like I would love to see it look different somehow.
Yeah,
Digitized
visual,
characters.
I want sprites back. You know, that's
the dream.
I think everybody does.
Is it really?
But,
No kidding.
yeah.
Or like if they
Some
could
really
just
good hand drawn sprites.
I mean, is there like
Or-
is there a feeling that it actually plays differently in 2D, or I mean, what's driving that?
I think nostalgia.
Or is it more
and,
nostalgia?
You know,
Okay.
a lot of that, it comes down to feel as well. There was a lot of tweaking that was done to 4 to make it feel like a 2D game, because 3D just inherently feels a little bit different, I think. But yeah, going back to sprites, even if they did something like in a Guilty Gear style, where it's like
right. I was gonna say, like, is that the real, like, the attainable? Because I just don't think they'll go back to sprites.
No,
Yeah, I know. I would love for them to. I don't see why they. I don't know. Invest in it. Monster Hunter made a lot of money, right?
What do you think about like just the kind of Guilty Gear style of like it's technically it's 3D, but it sure does look awfully 2D until the camera spins around.
I would love that.
Yeah, if they could achieve that look and yeah, that's probably the closest you get to something that is sprites but still modern enough to be flashy in trailers and all that other stuff. I think it's just really. Sprites is a hard sell because I think there'd be a mainstream audience that would look at it and go like, this just looks old.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I get this? This looks like, why would I pay full price for this old ass game? Like, I think there's just a lot of stuff you probably run into there that probably hurts your chances of just selling that game. Which hurts to say, but because sprites, it's that Dreamcast.
Hello,
Jeff. We lost you.
Jeff just
Jeff,
cut
we lost
out.
you.
Jeff, we can't hear you. Jeff, come in.
Oh no.
The Cap Cops came for Jeff.
Oh, the Cap Cops? What?
Yeah, Cap Cops.
Oh no.
Oh, that's good.
Like an in-house security force? That's not. Oh man, they got to him.
Oh no.
Nope.
Oh no.
Honda is rocketing at his house head first right now.
Oh god, he'd come through the window.
Jeff, check for the ransom.
There we go.
There it is.
Okay.
Yeah, we heard you.
The cable on these headphones is loose, and when it jiggles, the USB connection breaks and unbreaks. So I'm going to not use these headphones anymore.
Oh, but they look like Tron.
Or I'm going to use the regular headphone jack on them and plug them into the Astro Mix amp and go back to that. But
There we go.
anyway, what I was saying, I just, I think it'll just be a tough sell. But what I want is that CVS era, like 3D backgrounds with 2D sprites on top of it. It looks like a real mess, but it's a mess that I love.
Yeah.
But they ain't going to do that either. So.
As far as roster is concerned, like I don't know, just make it fun. Like I love the Alpha 3 roster. I think is really good. Pluck stuff from every. Well, they've been doing I think a pretty good job with 5 as well. Like they're choosing a few from the Final Fight universe, and a few from Alpha, the few from 4.
Yeah.
So it's been pretty diverse. That's been pretty good.
I wouldn't mind seeing them set a game like way later. Give me like super old man Ryu.
Yeah, like he's like Goken age or something.
Yeah, I mean, he's not just hot Ryu, he's hot old Ryu.
What if they maybe careful what you wish for? Like immediately makes me think of MKX and like Combat Kids type stuff. And
I'm thinking more like MK11 with time travel stuff.
Like, sure.
I think they should do something like the modern Mortal Kombat games and kind of make a game that's a love letter to Street Fighter, right? Like make it, like Mortal Kombat 9 was such a refreshing take because it's like, okay, we're going to remake these first 3 games that like technically have a plot, but not a lot of people care about the plot, but we're going to make you care about it. We're going to like give these characters some meat to chew on, and we're going to like actually get you involved in stuff. And I think that like, I mean, what do we know about like Ken? He's
a rich guy,
family man.
Wait,
is he?
Is Ken old money?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Man.
Sports cars in the whole bit.
Yeah. He's married. He's got a kid.
He's got a kid.
And that's about it.
And it's like, well, you could do like so much with that. Like, I mean, you can just really go for it. Like, I would love if the next Street Fighter game had an actual coherent story. Street Fighter 5
that'd be fun.
Launch with a story mode.
Yeah. It'd be fun if they had that large cinematic story. If it was just a retelling of Street Fighter the movie, but with polygonal characters.
Sure.
And like
a Street Fighter story mode as good as the recent MK story modes. Like, man, that would be cool as hell.
That would be cool. That'd be really cool. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard. I want there to be room for a bunch of new characters, but those new characters have to be amazing, right? I feel like the new characters in Street Fighter 4 were pretty decent. I didn't much care for most of the new characters in Street Fighter 5 or 3 for that matter. I just want Hakan, or I want a weird split universe story and it's oops all Ryu's, and there's just 20 characters and it's all just like, here's old man Ryu, here's one where he became a robot, it's
like DBZ, but instead of how many Gokus, it's how many Ryus.
Exactly.
5 is getting close to that with Kage.
Yeah. Hey, I want a Hakan version of Ryu. Just versions of Ryu that are like other Street Fighter characters. So it's an oiled up Ryu.
Yeah.
Green Ryu with electric powers.
Yeah.
Yes. Can that just be the gimmick? Like they had ink in 4, they just have oil in 6.
Yes.
On everything.
It's just, it's oil and mud wrestling. Yeah.
Also,
right.
rollback netcode.
Sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good netcode.
Yes. Put that in everything. Well, shit. Now I have a fork in the road. I could talk about the story that involves rollback netcode, or I could talk about the story that involves a fighting game that knows how to play on its nostalgia. I'm going to go that route.
Okay.
Mortal Kombat 11.
I've heard of it.
Yes.
What are they calling this? Classic MK movie skin pack.
Oh, it's so good.
Was revealed this morning.
I love a nice skin pack.
Classic skin pack.
I love a classic skin pack.
They went out and got Christopher Lambert.
That's crazy.
To do the voice of Raiden.
It's great.
And lend it to the likeness of Raiden from the... It's, what is it? It's Johnny Cage, Sonya, and Raiden from the classic and revered major motion picture Mortal Kombat.
Ah, yes.
Because they already had...
Shang Tsung, like they got Kerry Tagawa to do Shang Tsung. And was there one other one or no? I guess that
Rambo? Was Rambo in the first movie?
It's the classic.
Yeah, Rambo's in the first movie.
RoboCop as well.
Yeah.
Like those likenesses are spot on.
Did you? So I've not watched this.
Just give us your live reacts.
Okay, you need to hear the voices.
So we won't be able to pipe the audio. Well,
yeah,
I guess.
I'm gonna
do it in post.
So, but my question is not necessarily like how well is it done. My question is, can you replay the story mode with these voices?
I don't think so.
Okay,
that's kind of a lot. That's a lot of VO to record.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And then you wouldn't have Ronda Rousey.
Exactly. Yes. Now you understand why that would be a good thing.
Did they get everybody? Did they get Bridget Wilson for?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And Lyndon Ashby as Hollywood combatant Johnny Cage.
Of course. Yes. Hollywood combatant.
He was available.
Yeah. Weird. I'm not surprised.
Weird. Yeah.
Somehow.
And okay. So yeah, it does just say that these are it does not. Yeah, it just says these are skin variants. So I assume that does not apply to the story mode. That would have been cool if they went back and put, you could in a Gears of War Batista like way play that story mode with
I don't disagree.
With those characters.
I don't disagree. Which, good God,
the line readings are not great. I don't know if you've heard it.
No,
it's all right. It's rough.
Now I'm gonna play this because I in my head the line readings in the movie were terrible. So I mean, Christopher Lambert, like he's all like all that shit is garbage, and that's the good thing about it. Okay, I'm watching this now,
but like the mix isn't even that good. It seems like an overdub.
Yeah. It does. It does sound like they recorded this at home during a pandemic.
Yep.
Yeah, that's Raiden.
Yeah.
Alex Navarro posted a photo of like rubber Goro. I would love that as well.
Yeah.
I would really enjoy
else. Trying to think of
playing
who
through
else
that
I would.
campaign again with anyone else but Ronda Rousey voicing Sonya. I'd play through it with Batista as
Now you're talking.
As
Sonya Blade.
Yeah.
You just want Batista to play everyone in every role.
Pretty much.
He's like the new Ed Norton. That's cool that they did this, and I will probably. God, I didn't pick up the character pack, so I haven't seen I've seen some combos with Rain that look really fascinating and all that, but I did not spring.
Seems great. I haven't checked out any of those characters yet. I really should.
It's fun because after that dropped, I was seeing complaints that every character of the 3 is the most OP character they've added.
Really?
So I'd love to see stuff like that.
Yeah,
I've seen some crazy shit with Rambo as well.
Rambo's seen some shit too, man.
Yep.
It's too bad Striker's not in that game, right?
Nope.
No, Stryker.
No.
Well, I mean, now that they're doing the time travel stuff, they could kind of do whatever. But Stryker died in 9, I think. When
There's
they
some fun interactions between Striker and Rambo.
Yeah. I think Stryker and RoboCop would be the thing. In fact, they should have just made Stryker turn into RoboCop in this universe. Like, oh, he died in 9, but they say it. And it's just RoboCop with a fucking backwards hat on.
I've been messing around with the Ultimate Edition of that thing, and the skins they had to come up with for RoboCop, like, I don't know.
Is it just different paint jobs?
No, it's all kinds of weird shit.
It's a bunch of visors and
like he ends up looking like a construction worker in some of them, or just like weird. It's like, I don't know. I don't think RoboCop is a good vehicle for fighting game skins necessarily.
Right.
Well, you know, it's like, because otherwise it's just like mask on, mask off, right? I don't want to see mask off RoboCop. I'm sorry if that makes me a jerk. I want Murphy to wear the fucking visor.
Yeah, he looks weird without it.
I don't want to see the stuff around the edges. It's not pleasant to look at.
I think that was part of the point, but you know.
Yes, I know. Yes. Doesn't mean I have to like it.
No, I get it. You're right. Sorry, I had to run. Did you guys talk about the possibility of a second pack of this? That covers Kano and Liu Kang, the 2 remaining. And they could roll the ninjas in easily because those are just generic costumes. You don't have to go get an actor's likeness for those.
Their CG was so bad. I would love if like the characters in the game had the awful like hand shit that.
Oh no!
Because like the CG in those movies is some real good early bad CG.
It's like not Jason of the Argonauts bad, but it's got a style. Yeah, and people saying that.
The guy who played Kano in that movie passed away some years ago.
R.I.P.
Which also apparently he was not Australian.
That's acting, baby.
That accent was real put on. Well, that's a shame.
Yeah, what would you? I mean, if you did a movie version of Scorpion, it would just be like the spear comes out of his hand.
Yeah,
and that's
which looked pretty rough.
Which you wouldn't even really see. It was real terrible.
Real early mid ~90s CG going on there.
You could do some, and then you do the Mortal Kombat like Armageddon. Or Armageddon or Armageddon
Annihilation.
Armageddon was
Annihilation, right?
Oh god,
Armageddon's the game.
Oh man, the movie is so bad
because that gets you what, like Nightwolf and
hell yeah,
and some other
Sindel.
Yeah, you get like Motaro that way too, don't you?
Different
real bad.
You get a Jax too, right?
Recasting for Raiden in that, I want to say.
Yeah, I believe you're right.
Like James Remar or something like that.
Yes, isn't it James Remar? Oh, James Remar's so good.
I believe it actually is.
I love James. It's
isn't he like kind of, what's the word I'm looking for?
He plays a good dirtbag in movies. Like he's got a real.
I was under the impression that he is a good dirtbag.
Certainly possible. I wouldn't. I would not doubt it.
Dirtbag with a heart of gold.
Anyway,
I don't know about that, but he was in Phantom, right? Phantom Slam Evil.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
The union of video games and movies continues. IO Interactive, makers of such fine games as Kane and Lynch, Freedom Fighters, and Mini Ninjas.
Mm-hmm.
Also Hitman.
Yeah.
They're making a James Bond game.
Yeah.
Which, sure, I'd have no affinity for James Bond, but if you asked me who should make a James Bond game, I don't think I could come up with a better choice.
I think that's a great fit. We were just talking about this like last week, right? That like the putting the shit that James Bond does into a video game is not something you do in a first-person shooter.
That's weird that we got that email last week about good James Bond games right before this announcement.
Oh yeah,
or is it? I don't know. So yeah, I honestly think that like if you want a game that represents gadgets and dumb spy shit, well, like Hitman is the engine for that.
Dude,
like
totally.
they already do that in a lot of ways, and so retrofitting that tech to do James Bond justice, I think that's really that seems like a really solid choice. So
I do wonder if the licensors are willing to let them get as ridiculous as they do with Hitman, though, or if they're going to make it a little more straight laced.
Yeah, I wonder what the James Bond estate is like if they're as tight knit as the Arthur Conan Doyle.
Yeah, they're probably trouble.
Yeah, I don't get the sense that they are the most like flexible about what happens with the James Bond property necessarily. But anyway. This says a wholly original Bond story. Players will earn their 00 status in the very first James Bond origin story. Which is that possible? How has that never been done before?
Oh, weird.
Really?
Don't they just? I mean, I feel like every James Bond story is just like, here he is, he's out doing spy stuff, and they start,
Casino Royale is close to an origin story, like.
Yeah,
almost, but not quite. Anyway, yeah, this seems awesome. Like, there's not really anything to go on. There's just a little teaser trailer with no game. They appear to be hiring for this. Right there on the announcement page, there's a big join the team button, so I guess this is probably a ways off. But on the other hand, they presumably will be pivoting pretty hard to it, considering that Hitman 3 is out in like 2 months.
Oh, yeah, it's not that far off.
Hitman 3 is out in January, which is cool.
You think we see a crossover?
I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope there's at least a reference in the Bond game to, there's something you pick up where they're talking about Agent 47 and Agent 007 in some kind of context, right? I mean,
sure. Just put a heat-seeking briefcase in there,
right?
Yep.
Right out of Bond anyway. Let's see here. This happened during the break. Rockstar is putting out Red Dead Online as a standalone game on December 1st, which is like next week, for $5.
Oh,
$5, huh?
Looks like it'll be $20 regular price. I think, but yeah, $5.
I wonder how that's doing. It can't be doing as well as Grand Theft Auto.
Right? Yeah, but I mean, what is besides like Fortnite?
Right.
Like that's so big. Yeah, it's hard to see it's hard to decide if this is like it's doing really well, so they want to get it out to more people, or it's not doing that well, so they want to get it out to more people.
I suspect this is like they're probably trying to get it in front of more people, and
Is there a similar equivalent in Grand Theft Auto?
Not to my knowledge, no.
No.
They've done deals where you've gotten that game for not a lot of money, and various offers and partnerships. Like they've done a lot of stuff over time. Where I think on the Epic Store it was like free for a little bit, wasn't it?
Yeah,
GTA 5 was just straight up like free, just to try to get more people in the door.
What was that San Andreas they gave away for free? I forget.
No, that was on the Rockstar launcher.
Right. Yeah, yes, you're right. Yes, 5 was free on Epic. Yes.
Yeah, so that there's definitely been cases where they've tried to get more people in the door for that thing in a variety of ways, but never to the point of separating it out. I think that's the thing for PS5, right? Aren't they just releasing a Grand Theft Auto Online?
Maybe. I'm pretty sure
for free. It's not full on GTA 5.
That might be right, but I think the full game is getting a port. That's the other thing to note about this is that this Red Dead Online standalone is coming to PS4 and Xbox One, and it'll be backwards compatible on the new consoles. But they've not said anything about a Red Dead 2 upgrade for next gen like GTA 5 is getting. So
when I read that, my first thought was Rockstar would sure love to sell that game again.
Sure,
totally.
Sure,
yeah.
You mean Red Dead?
That's how they do.
Yes.
And not just give you a free upgrade if they can help it.
There was what turned out to be like a bad Photoshop Amazon product listing mock-up going around over the weekend of something that I think they were calling it like the Red Dead Redemption Outlaws collection. It was fake.
Yeah.
But the idea was it was a Red Dead 1 and 2 double pack with 1 remade in the 2 engine, which has been like a really steady rumor for a long time.
Huh.
Which might be nonsense, but like not really huge spoilers for Red Dead Redemption 2, but you finish that game and then you find that they built like the entire landmass of the first game that you basically don't touch in the story. Right. You start to get into it in the epilogue a little bit.
Yeah.
But there's like a shocking amount of very detailed land in like Mexico that they built for Red Dead 2 that they kind of don't do that much with.
Spoiler alert, Mexico.
Right. So yeah, like people had speculated for ages that like, they're just going to port Red Dead 1 over this engine with all these assets that they made for some reason. But
I would have thought that would, so I think my thought on that would be that would be how they would, where they would expand in the online mode. It'll be like, we've added Mexico in Red Dead Online, but not necessarily to do a bunch of new story content or report the first game, but to just say like, we brushed up these assets as well because we know we're eventually going to want to lean on it for the online mode.
That is entirely possible. It could just be that, but
someone's saying that it is extensively used in online already. So
you do go down there for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's why you would do that, is because otherwise it's all the same locations that you just spend a lot of hours in and all that.
It's just that it is kind of a shockingly large amount of content.
But
all right. I alluded to this earlier. I assume Ben probably wants to get into this. The Smash situation with Slippy?
Yeah.
Tell me about Slippy.
So, Jeff, you probably actually know more about Slippy than I do.
I only read up on it after this happened, just to get a sense of like what it is. And it looks like that it's, they've found a way to take the Wii and GameCube emulator Dolphin and pipe it over the internet.
Which that was already happening.
Like it's basically like a rollback netcode mod for Smash Melee, right?
Right.
Yeah, or it seems like something. It is a net play enabled build of Dolphin, basically, and
Well, that existed before Slippy. People were playing Smash online with their computers,
right?
Before Slippy. Slippy, the big change that I'm aware of with Slippy was it introduced rollback, meaning people could play cross coast, people could play people in Europe and have a decent connection.
But I think the idea, I think what I'm getting at is like you don't necessarily have to play Smash with it, but that's probably what you would use it for.
Right. Like there might be some double dash lunatics out there.
And that it has some, and then also I believe Slippy has like a website with full on like tournament integrations and stuff like that. So they've probably done some work around that stuff to handle some kind of matchmaking or at least like facilitating players getting together and playing. Yeah, no, the matchmaking. They have indeed done matchmaking.
Nice.
Anyway, where we're going with this is that Nintendo shut down a major tournament because they were using this mod.
Yes, the Big House, which has been going forever, as far as I know. I mean, I remember when I was first turned on to Melee in like 2012 or whatever. Big House was like a beloved series of tournaments, and Nintendo sent them a cease and desist, citing in their statement that the reason was because you needed a illegally downloaded copy of Melee to play it, which is like the technicality, the legality around it is a weird gray area right now. Like there's not been like any major court cases about this stuff. Nintendo probably has the resources to argue that they are in the right there.
So Nintendo has always maintained, no matter what, over the years, I think they still have a webpage up about intellectual property and all this other stuff where they go on to maintain that the emulators are illegal too.
Yes.
And that is, as far as I can tell, not true.
Yeah.
So, but that is the position they have maintained all along, is that every part of the chain is against the law. The game part of it, I think that that's ends up in a situation where theoretically you could, and I am not a lawyer, but my understanding is that you can legally back up a copy of your game, especially in a case where you need to do that to play it in another environment and that sort of stuff, where it's like, oh, if I want to play this on the PC, this is what I need to do to get there.
Right.
And so I think Nintendo getting out there and saying that this is illegal, that seems to me, that seems suspect, but also it is a thing that is probably not been fully tested in court and probably won't be here either, because they went ahead and just shut down their tournament because they're a fan community and Nintendo has lawyers.
It's important to note that these tournaments do not make the TOs money. Often TOs lose money on these tournaments, even with sponsorship deals, even with brand deals. Like, people don't run these tournaments to get rich.
No,
like, I'm sure there are a few exceptions, like Evo might make money and stuff like that.
They run them to get Astro headsets.
Yeah. all the Astro headsets you can fit on your head.
Cup of noodle hats.
Sticks.
G Fuel. Yeah. So, I guess also, Nintendo, and I think a lot of big companies are definitely like in the vein of like, well, we have to protect our intellectual property, and if we don't, then our ability to protect it is lessened.
Right. And
so they try to stab out in these directions where they see stuff getting a little too mainstream. When ROM sites started, some of them started getting like, hey, right. Guess what the upshot was when they went after all those big Pokemon sites that were hosting ROMs and all this other stuff. Like, guess how hard it is to find Nintendo games on the internet now? Not at all.
Is it still easy?
Yeah.
It's a bummer to me in a few regards outside of like the whole legality issue. It's a bummer because this is a 19-year-old video game that Nintendo is not currently selling outside of like used copies. And the people that they're going after, the people who are still into Melee, I guarantee you have bought Melee legally multiple times in their life.
Yeah.
So like if, I understand the copyright thing. It just feels crummy because it is such a grassroots community. And you see other examples of like people, like you could play Guilty Gear plus R on GGPO, and people were getting so into it that ArcSys was like, you know what? That's fucking tight. We are going to officially put it in the Steam version of the game.
Oh, dope.
And they did it. And you can buy this really old Guilty Gear game on Steam that they just rolled in this new netcode. And I see tons of my friends playing that game now that they wouldn't have otherwise checked out, because it's like, oh, this game was good, but there was no outside of going through the hassle of getting GGPO and getting all this stuff, I'm never going to go check this out. And now,
Okay, but if I were Nintendo, if Nintendo was me, and I was selling the current version of Smash Brothers,
yes,
what I want as a business is to fucking eradicate these Melee fuckers.
I mean, ArcSys is selling modern versions of Guilty Gear.
Yeah,
that are not supporting the
and I guarantee
game.
you, these Melee motherfuckers have bought the new Smash.
But they're not streaming it. They're not talking about how it's the greatest thing, all this other stuff. It's like, no.
This isn't going to get them to do that.
No, it's not. It's definitely not. It's definitely not.
But tell
also,
Nintendo that.
I would be more open to that position. I know this is a theoretical, but if that game had a good netcode and you could actually run an online tournament for it.
There you go. The other thing they don't want is, hey, this fan mod is out here with better netcode than our officially modern product. I would not be shocked if on some level there was they are fucking, they might not admit it to themselves, but hey, this fan made thing is out here making us look bad. And so shut it all down. Are they playing the new game too? We don't care. Shut it all down.
Right.
Because we don't want them to do that. And obviously Nintendo has a long history of being fucking weird about tournaments. They try to pull out of Evo and try to pull hey, you don't have permission to stream our game.
Nintendo traditionally is one of the most old-fashioned and conservative companies in the game industry.
They managed to back off of the shit they were on about hey, if you're going to stream our games or put videos of our games on YouTube, you need to fill out this form and give us your ad money and we'll cut you in on the back end, or whatever that whole nonsense was.
Right.
I don't even know that, you don't hear people talking about that anymore, but you do hear them talking about hey, there's a long history of Nintendo not being down for all of this Smash stuff, especially with older Smash. But them being fairly protective of how current Smash is used in tournament settings and all this other stuff. And so I guess my point is like, this is not shocking.
No.
And I think if you are part of that Smash community, you need to just realize this is how it is. I don't think Nintendo's going to change, because they would have changed by now if they were going to. And you need to consider if that's something that you are willing to live with, if that's going to be a scene you want to be a part of, or whatever. That like, hey, the creator of this game is in some ways actively working against you.
For sure. And like, all, you know, Melee enthusiasts like have been pushing this closer and closer to weird edges for a long time. Like, you know, you got to know that there is a chance that one day it'll all be gone in a moment. Like Nintendo could fully just go sicko mode on you and just destroy the passion, the game that you've built a community. Like there's, you know, full-time streamers, sponsored players, like all that stuff could just be gone in a second. And it's a reality that a lot of people don't want to acknowledge, even though it's out there. But like, that doesn't make it any less shitty.
Yeah, this really sucks because, you know, we're living in 2020, right? And the fighting game community has really suffered, you know, because, you know, we can't have in-person tournaments, but they're finding ways to, you know, to be able to run tournaments, you know, with these types of mods, or running a parsec, like an AWS instance and shit. Just last night I watched a long ass tournament.
That Marvel tournament?
Yeah, that Marvel tournament.
Oh, it was so good.
Hosted by Maximilian and Twitch, and yeah, they got that to work. They tried so hard to capture the, you know, the spirit of Marvel, you know, and to get that in today's times in an online sense is amazing. So it's just doubly a bummer for the people that were involved in this tournament. That had to shut it down. That sucks. That fucking sucks. Fuck you, Nintendo.
Like, you know, they and I, on some level, like you know, people, so there's like a big long letter about like, did you know Nintendo did this? Like this big old long thing that hit last night, of people saying, here are the ways Nintendo has actively worked against this community over the years. And I read it and just kind of nodded my head and went like, yeah, like this isn't
their business. I get it.
Yeah. But also like, this isn't new. And, and if you're shocked by this, it's just, I look at that and go like, at some point you have to look yourself in the mirror and say, am I going to continue to invest myself in this community of a game from a publisher that actively dislikes me? And I don't know, like I look at it and go like, maybe, you know, what are the reasons for this? Is it them simply trying to protect copyright law? Or do they look at Smash and think like, hey, this used to be a fun thing for kids and you sickos are warping it in directions that we don't like? I just don't know. I don't know what their angle is, you know? But I could see it being that of just like, well, we don't support the Smash community because they are being fucking bonkers about this game that we want more people to like.
I really don't think the Melee enthusiasts of 2020 are ruining Smash for anyone. I think they're off in their own little corner doing their own little thing, not bothering anyone.
I think it's very easy to look at, like, I think it's very easy to generalize about the Smash community. And in a way that I could see someone saying like, well, I don't want to play that. I don't want to be involved with those people. I could see that maybe being a thing, but like, that's not costing Nintendo meaningful sales of the game, right? You have to be pretty in deep to know that. I don't know. I think they made Smash Brothers for kids. I think they made it the same way they make Mario Kart and everything else. And they're like, hey, we just wanted to make this fun video game. And like, these people are being really weird about it. And we're not okay with that. I suspect that is it. And then you've got people in that company, probably more in the US than in Japan, that have wanted to support it in a greater way, and they've made some headway. And you see that struggle about like, oh, Nintendo was going to support this tournament, and then suddenly they weren't, and then or they were, hey, Evo happened, like like that push and pull about like Nintendo saying, well, what are we going to get out of this if we let you play Smash at Evo? Hey, are you going to play ARMS also? No. Well, then I don't know. You know, like what does Nintendo get out of it? I feel like is probably the end question for the people that call shots there. And they always look at it and go like, nah. And
they don't see value in it. And like some companies do, some companies don't. Right. It just comes down to the company. And Nintendo is definitely more conservative in that regard than even some other Japanese companies. Like I feel like in general, it's harder to make the jump from like that's why, you know, like NetherRealms is always like really up in the community, really involved, like always pushing stuff because there's less barriers between them and the community. But like Nintendo, like it's a Japanese company for a 19-year-old video game that, you know, they're actively working on. There's just so many like,
and Nintendo has drawn hardline stances about emulation in any way that makes like the modding that goes on with like a Project M or something like that. Like to them, that is all against the law.
Yeah.
So if you're like, hey, we're going to play Ultimate and we're going to play all these other things, they're like, well, our lawyers say we need to fuck you into the dirt now. So good luck with that. And because, you know, they've taken that stance and I think you have to know that going in that is Nintendo's stance on all of this stuff, is that it's all illegal. I don't think that's accurate, but again, I'm not a lawyer. So you know, you run the risk of being shut down at any time if you're doing anything with Smash Brothers in any way. But if you're getting into the older ones and modifying them and all the other stuff, then, you know, Nintendo going to do what Nintendo going to do. Meanwhile, you know, like I feel like Namco has been pretty good about tech and stuff. Like there was the stuff around Dragon Ball, like not being able to be in tournaments for a little bit there too. And some of that stuff seemed real sketchy, but yeah.
I think it's just a bummer, but like an inevitable bummer, you know?
Right. Yeah. It's like Nintendo is going to continue to be Nintendo. And the idea that players are up in arms about this, no, they should be up in arms.
They're not playing arms.
Well, then maybe they should. Maybe that would solve the problem.
Should play arms.
But, you know, the idea that there are still players that are like really mad about this, I just want to like look at it and just go like, this is what they do. It's what this is how they've always felt about it.
Mad about what they do, you know.
Oh, totally. But like, it ain't changed. Like at some point you have to accept that and be like, well, this is their stance on this stuff. And hey, you either have to be okay with that stuff getting shut down or having to be run all the way on the extreme edges, or not. And yeah, I don't know. There are play something else. Play.
How about Animal Crossing?
Yes.
How about
what about Animal Crossing tournaments?
How about
I was going to suggest like one of the 30 Smash clones that came to Steam over the last handful of years.
What if you were to run for office and you could make like a campaign island? You'd be like, here's my platform in Animal Crossing. It's where you love to hang out and talk politics.
We're gonna frack our island.
They have also issued guidelines to anyone who might be looking to use Animal Crossing for political purposes, saying, please don't, because we have lawyers.
There goes my bid for being a mayor in Daly City next year.
Man. Jay and I have faith in you.
It's how I was going to connect to the community.
We'll just do it in like Phantasmophobia. We'll just run around talking to people. Hey, vote for me. Oh God, it's a ghost.
Jay and I fully believe you could get elected to local government without the aid of Animal Crossing. Quite frankly,
we shouldn't test that. We should not test that.
Go start somewhere. That's the long and the short of it. They put out some guidelines essentially saying like, hey, don't do that or we might have to take, quote, appropriate actions, including prohibiting your future business usage of the game. So sorry to Biden Island.
Yeah. So businesses and organizations may have to share a few guidelines, damaging or having bad influence. Oh, so okay. So I was wondering how much of this was going to be around like just stuff in general, because like basically my question is, are they coming after Gary Whitta? And it looks like maybe not.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume he's kind of right on the edge where it's still mostly for funsies.
Yeah.
Like they're probably not going to try to accuse him of building a business inside of Animal Crossing or something like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
Yeah.
Well,
but I don't know. They don't seem to be down for people using Animal Crossing too.
What if you still tried to have like political paraphernalia, like something that looks like a presidential poster or whatever? Would they crack down on that, or is it just if you're framing it as you're campaigning for someone, then that's when they'd cut you off?
It's hard to say, man. I
think they don't want official. Like official representation of that stuff. I think if you were to go in and make a you know, because that game supports any kind of custom artwork and all that other stuff. Like, if you were to do something like that, that's just you doing it on your own, and you share it with who you share it with. But yeah.
I guess this is potentially a large conversation, but we'll just kind of touch on it real fast. CD Projekt has announced that there's going to be a toggle copyrighted music off option in Cyberpunk.
That's cool.
Because of the DMCA. And I assume this decision was made before this kind of strange recent wave of crackdowns, but it sure is timely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the first game to have it, for sure.
No, definitely one of the... I mean, I knew this game was huge, but as soon as the 20 minutes of footage hit the internet yesterday from the unpatched disc version on the PS4 of this game, I was like, oh, so it's that status of the first person who could grab one of these off of a truck went and streamed it to the internet as fast as they could. Like, it's that.
Yeah. That game blew up on Reddit. That game is all over Reddit. I
was like,
it's a very visually inviting game.
Cyberpunk is officially like Metal Gear Solid 2 status or whatever, you know.
You take that back.
You know what I'm saying?
I think that's a great solution for streamers. I just think if you can't see the humor in a Cyberpunk game,
bowing to corporate pressure.
Yeah, like here's how to protect yourself from the corporate. Like, on one hand, it's kind of Cyberpunk, but like the way they frame it is just, I don't know, man.
Not very
like,
Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk is literally all about taking down corporations and fighting back against megacorps and shit.
It's all just like, an ARG for the game.
What if toggling it off just actually makes all the licensed music play like 11% slower? And enough to like if it's like they hacked it to avoid content ID.
Yeah,
that would be good.
Like, I honestly, like, I just thought that was fucking funny because, like, literally Cyberpunk is the most anti-corporate genre I can imagine.
Oh, I mean, in its origins, but you know,
sure. But this is a video game. This is a piece of media by a company that has shareholders. Like, it is. I get it. You know, the idea that that Twitch thing is still a ridiculous. It's fucking Amazon. The idea that they haven't gone out and said, like, we're just going to shore this up and do whatever business deal we need to do to take care of this because we value this streaming business we've built. And maybe on the back end, they're trying to do that. It just hasn't happened yet. And maybe they just kind of got caught a little off guard by it. I suspect that's probably something they're trying to work through. But man, it's really hard to feel any kind of... Well, I feel like Twitch really has fucked this up. I was going to say it's really hard to feel any sympathy for Twitch, and like, duh. But yeah, it's their response to this, the sudden influx of DMCAs and all that stuff, to just kind of pass that along to the individual streamers, I think is really pretty shitty.
What occasioned this recent wave was the RIAA jumping in there, right? Like, didn't they kind of kick this whole thing off?
I believe so. I think it was probably just like they all woke up and realized one day, like, oh, we should just do this. This is Amazon. Like, we should get money from them.
The theory I saw going around is that they've been ready to pull the trigger on it for a while, but have just been waiting for a rainy day and COVID.
Recording industry revenue dropped below a certain threshold. It's like, all right, time to pull a streaming trigger.
Yeah, I could see it for sure. The recording industry is nothing if not fucking garbage. So
opportunistic and backwards.
Yeah. So, but like the idea that this didn't like get solved in a boardroom, in a Zoom call somewhere, really sucks. And Ben is so annoyed by it. He just he's like, forget it. Ben is like, forget it. I'm out of here.
I have to redo the cropping again.
Yeah. And whatever. I mean, there's some people that are out there just like streaming copyrighted music, and you can't. I mean, that's like whatever. That's not. It'd be nice if there was some way for that to not be a problem. But the real problem is like, hey, there are an increasing number of video games that have licensed music in it, even original music that gets licensed out for a soundtrack, that then you have the company that did that soundtrack trying to make claims on it on YouTube and all this other horse shit. Like that stuff needs to just get figured out and finished. If like Twitch streaming is going to continue to be a thing, this has to get solved, right? It can't.
How does it work on streaming to YouTube or a different platform?
YouTube started getting hit before Twitch.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but
Facebook,
YouTube has a middle ground where, and they have a system in place for you to file a counterclaim pretty easily if you're like, oh no, this is fair use, which is not always going to be the case, but they at least have a process in place of just like, oh well, this person can claim this company can claim the ad revenue on these videos, but the video remains up, which for people trying to earn a living off Twitch is obviously not ideal. But if you're trying to earn a living off Twitch, then you probably need to be making sure that what you're doing there is on the up and up anyway. And I just look at it as like there's, and Fuser's probably another recent example of just like, you probably shouldn't stream Fuser. I think Will Smith was saying like, hey, Tony Hawk maybe suffered because the music is such a cool part of that game. Yeah. And if you can't stream it because it's all licensed soundtrack stuff, then it doesn't get streamed as much as other games might. And that feels bad to me because I don't want to live in a world where games have to cater to streaming. Like they don't have to be made stream legal, and I think you're hurting games when you force those limitations on them. But at the same time, in some cases, that's the reality of it: is the knock-on effect of like the free marketing a game gets by being a streamer hit is real. And so I don't know where the middle ground is there, other than like clearly Amazon and Twitch need to do a deal and get that taken care of. I think Facebook was pretty quick to kind of get out there and say like, we did the deal. You can stream over here. Hey, we're over here. It would be great if people streamed more than just mobile games on this
Call of Duty
and mobile games.
The mobile Call of Duty.
They were quick to say that they had made arrangements to protect their streamers. So
well, now that they shut down Farmville, they have a lot of free bandwidth to.
Well, I got good news for them because speaking of streamer hits, the most important story of the week. This went out from @ShadowComplex on Twitter.
Yes, one of the most active accounts on the internet.
Our team has patched Shadow Complex Remastered for PS4, and it's now playable on PlayStation 5.
Thank God.
Only 9 more to go.
Yeah. Start with Shadow Complex, end with PT. That's where it's got to.
That's right.
The content. Right.
Now my PS4 can go in a box.
Yep.
Thank God.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was like one of the standouts on the list of PS4 games that would not play on a PS5. I feel like that was the one that was just like, what? Wait, this seems weird.
Yeah, it was like that.
It's an Unreal Engine game.
That and Afro Samurai 2, basically.
Right. Yeah. So.
And
good.
Something Manx TT.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You know, the one.
I always tell myself I'm going to play Shadow Complex again, and then I don't.
Yeah. That game's good, I think.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I enjoyed it.
Gold guns.
Every time
guns.
Every time I think about Shadow Complex, I just get flashbacks of the time that I meticulously reconstructed that look that we did scene by scene.
Yeah.
Which I actually wish we had recorded that entire. Knowing Drew, we might have all that footage on a hard drive somewhere.
Yeah, I wonder.
Between Drew's meticulous recording and Vinny's yen for archiving stuff.
Yeah.
We might have all that footage somewhere that I played the same rooms over and over to like fucking whatever. All right. I'm going to read 3 emails.
Three mails.
3 of them.
God damn it.
1, 2, 3.
3 mails. Podcast.giantbomb.com.
3 mails.
Hey, I thought this podcast was 5 mails up top.
No.
I'll give you that one, Ben.
All right. 3 emails. They're all about food.
Delicious.
I have more than 3 emails about food here, but all right. First one is from Chris. I used to work at a Barnes & Noble cafe. I don't know where this came from. Oh, well, we've been talking about Mountain Dew, right? I used to work at a Barnes & Noble cafe.
You know.
Do you have to ask?
And had a regular that would order a Mountain Dew Frappuccino.
Oh, no.
Because we had a fountain machine, I would open the valve of the Mountain Dew syrup and dump in what looked like antifreeze.
Oh.
Then I added a cream-based syrup and ice and blended it. He said it was amazing and would order it every week. God, the cops.
The cops are here for all of us this time.
The flyover cops.
I'll go willingly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, take me to jail because I think that sounds okay.
Paratroopers are, I mean, yeah, to be clear, that's Mountain Dew syrup and coffee and a milk product.
That's just like a tummy ache waiting to happen.
No, I'm in.
I drink it. Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
wouldn't you say that like the base flavor of Mountain Dew is like citrus?
Yes.
Citrus in coffee?
yeah.
What the fuck? What?
Yeah.
Oh,
There's like I think it's like a Spanish coffee drink that's basically lemonade and coffee.
man, what?
And just throw a little cream in there.
It doesn't necessarily, not all Frappuccinos have coffee in them.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Like a green tea frap.
Well, okay, sure. I guess you get into weird bougie variants of everything these days, so sure.
But I think there's like, isn't the vanilla one just like there's no coffee in it at all? It's just
Before I
basically
drink
a fucking
coffee, I would get the
milkshake.
strawberry one. That was just like strawberry syrup and milk and ice.
If you pull
The
out
Test
coffee,
Kitchen has the same type of blender that Starbucks has.
He also says, we would also blend things like Cheesecake Factory, espresso brownies, peanut butter cup cookies, and Godiva chocolate with Frappuccinos. I mean, that just sounds good. Have you ever ordered off a secret menu? In and out,
Yeah.
kind of the classic one around here.
When I was still at the coffee shop, we had made a special blend too popular that all the stores had a meeting to tell our store to cut it out and stop coming up with shit because no one at any of the other stores know what the fuck they're talking about after they visit our store.
That just sounds like a business opportunity to me.
Right.
Yeah. And then like they, like anytime like the barista would ask the customers like, hey, what'd you hear about that? They would always say like, oh, that store. And then we would get a call. We made like a fake holiday drink, and every single day of December and January, we'd get a call every single day from another coffee shop within the chain saying, how the fuck do you make this? Stop telling people about this. It was great.
Yeah.
You should have just made a newsletter and sent it out to the other stores and said, here's the good drinks.
They were all trash anyway. It's just our store.
Gotta keep that one in your back pocket.
There was a burrito place next to my college that did steak sauce. It's like a barbecue sauce burrito with the carne asada that was off menu that I would order all the time. And then one day the stoner who would make it for me wasn't there anymore, and I asked them to make it to me, and they looked at it like I was ordering in a foreign language.
Bummer.
It's a bummer.
I'm sorry.
I hope that person is still making delicious burritos somewhere.
I'm a little sad that people abused the In-N-Out menu to the point that they stopped doing the grotesquely large configurations. I think it was after that 100 by 100 started making the rounds on the internet is when they like started cracking down on that stuff.
Yeah, you could probably get like up to a 5 by 5.
I think that I've heard it's generally in the 4 by 4 or 5 by 5 range that they'll stop at now.
Depends how busy they are, I imagine, too. If you go and it's slow, you can maybe get away with a little more.
Yeah.
What if you just order multiple 5x5s?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then you get a bunch of extra buns.
Just eat them. Problem solved.
Sure. Get that protein stack. Like that's actually, I've never gotten that, but I guess that's pretty secret.
Protein style is the best salad you'll ever have.
That sounds all right, actually. Nicholas from Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. There's cookie cereal, Hershey Kiss cereal, and corn cereal. Why not crouton cereal?
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
None of those are savory.
Okay.
It's little pieces of bread.
Yeah, if croutons are just dried bread, that's sure.
They're like dried bread, but covered in like butter and herbs, which I don't necessarily want in my cereal.
True.
Yeah, where are the savory cereals? Savory breakfast cereal. Why not? Why not?
Steak tips with milk poured over them.
Now we're talking. Anything can be cereal if you just put it in a bowl with milk.
Chop up a bunch of Slim Jims.
Oh man.
You guys are describing cat food.
Uh-huh.
Steak tips and milk sounds kind of good, actually. All right, that's probably enough. Okay, I chose to save this one for last. Samuel from Indonesia. Would you rather have every food you ever eat have cheese in it, or never get to have cheese ever again?
Every food.
Every food has to have cheese.
Oh, I don't know, man.
What is the worst possible food that you could put cheese on?
Yeah.
A bowl of cereal.
Yeah. I guess I'd just
cream?
stop eating cereal and have breakfast sandwiches and omelets and
Yeah.
shit like that.
No.
Yeah.
What would a really terrible food with cheese be?
I can't think of a bad mixture.
Do beverages count?
I don't think so.
Let's say no for the purposes of this thought experiment.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, I guess there's a lot of like Chinese food
Yeah,
that
I don't know.
typically doesn't have Chinese or cheese.
That.
Yeah, but what if it did?
That's true.
Yeah.
Chow mein with cheese?
And I assume we could like pick the cheese, and it's not always just like here's a slab of American on top of whatever you are eating.
It's a little, it's got chicken fried rice with just a slice of pepper jack melted over the top of it. Why not?
Yeah,
Why not?
try that? Fuck yeah.
Why not?
I guess fruit would be a bummer.
No, that,
Apples and
that
cheese is
actually
fine.
works.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that
Oh,
works.
yeah.
Sure.
I think that's weird,
That's
but
doable.
hey,
Yeah,
That's
it
doable.
works. It works.
I'm less
But-
worried about bad food pairings and more worried about the cumulative effect of eating cheese 24/7 for years on end.
yeah, it's
People have
been
eaten
working out
worse.
okay so far.
Do you get extra cheese on like pizza for free? Because then
Whoa.
it's an even added bonus.
Oh dang!
Yeah, I guess if you're lactose intolerant, this is kind of a bummer for
Yeah,
you.
that'd be pretty
Well,
bad.
then you're already avoiding cheese in the first
Yeah,
place.
you already made your choice, actually.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
it got made for you.
Some desserts, I guess, would be kind of funky, but like honestly, I could not. I mean, I can live without cheese. I don't want to be that dramatic, but like
They're back coming after us
cheese
again.
is probably the
Paratroopers.
one thing I would never want to give up. If I had to like pick one food ingredient, I guess.
Because then pizza would just be really boring.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You lose pizza. You lose. Well, you don't lose burritos, but you lose burritos I like.
We lose a lot of Italian food.
Grilled cheese.
Yeah. Quesadillas.
Quesadilla.
Oh.
That's rough.
I can't lose those. I need those in my life.
I can't lose a grilled cheese.
Yeah.
Fair point. All right, you're eating grilled cheese for every meal now.
Ah, what are Cheetos at that point?
That's not cheese. Come on.
Okay.
There was a time not
Don't
too long
play.
ago when my taste buds were all messed up, and it wasn't a COVID thing. I didn't lose my taste, so nobody freak out. Anyway, but I could only eat grilled cheese for it was months.
Likely story.
Actually, it was very strange. That's all I can
That
say.
is weird.
That doesn't sound so good.
Yeah,
But it sounds
everything
all right.
else everything else just tasted awful. I don't know what it was.
Infinite
Well,
variations
better
on a
now.
grilled cheese.
Yeah,
Like a tuna melt, turkey melt,
Cheese melt.
something else
Cheese
melt.
melt.
I'm sure there's something else. All right. Pretty pro cheese around here, I suppose. Debating the idea of 4 males.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
I love fourth male.
4th male. All right.
Live mail.
All right. Yes, we're going to read Moss. One more email. It's from Mayumi in Melbourne. Just listened to you guys talking about Vienna sausages and Spam. I know Jan can attest to this as a fellow Filipino, but cooking canned meats like Vienna sausage, Spam, and corned beef is just the best. I grew up eating only these cooked and never knew they could be eaten raw until my husband told me he does.
Oh,
Thanks for continuing to do what you do. I didn't know you could cook Vienna sausage. Like what?
Yeah.
What is it
totally
like?
a thing.
What is it like to cook a Vienna sausage?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. It just gives it like a nice little sear around.
probably gives it a you like bite into it.
Yeah, you get a little
better.
crust. It's a nice crunch.
Where I grew up, the Vienna sausage can to saltine to mouth pipeline was active.
I didn't even know you could eat them raw at first
dude,
until
they
I saw a
just-
friend doing
I
it.
didn't know you could eat raw Spam. I figured you can. Like logically, that makes sense, but I don't want. I have to burn that shit.
Yeah, raw Spam. I do. God, I can't even imagine.
Oh man,
Well,
bless
not raw.
my
I mean, it's cooked, but like
Yeah.
straight out the can spam.
bless my grandma's heart. When I used to come back from school and I'd be hungry, she'd make me a little spam snack. But because she was a little older, she couldn't turn on the stove, so she just stick it in the microwave.
Okay.
All right.
It was
Heat it
not
up a little
great.
bit.
It was not great.
See the rubbery factor maybe going up a little bit.
Yeah.
Any
Spam fries though.
ooh.
It's gonna take some years off your life though.
Any potted meat fans around here?
Hell no.
What?
I don't know, man. It just was never so I had never heard of potted meat until I started like every so often we would go to the grocery outlet, which is like where they're just like, fuck it, we got the dented up cans that that the other stores didn't want.
Everything is going to expire in 2 days.
And there was something that just said potted meat food product.
Did it have the devil on it?
No, I don't think so.
You got to get the one with the devil on it.
Now that you say that, I know what you're talking about.
Oh, isn't that just liverwurst?
Yeah, the Underwood. It's the Underwood.
Liverwurst is delicious.
Yeah, it's just like a poor man's pate, basically.
It's
Just a,
and we kind of just bought it as a goof and tried it. I was like, this you could eat this. I don't know that I want to do that on the regular, but
also good on a saltine.
I bet.
Just gonna say,
I bet.
Deviled ham. Deviled ham. All right. That's it for emails. Bombcast.com.
All right.
My own brand of spam now.
Ooh, yeah. It's just, dude, you're
Chance man.
weird.
That's how I capture the people of Daly City to vote for me.
Man, you're weird frappuccino in one hand and your spam in the other.
Yeah, you got a spam Animal Crossing island.
Oh my god! Can I be a spamfluencer?
You got my vote.
Okay. I'm gonna send some emails after this.
Yes. All right. Yes. All right. That's it for emails. That's it for the podcast. We're going to get out of here. Stream tomorrow in honor of one Abby Russell.
Mm-hmm.
Who's that?
What? Who? Whoa. Too soon.
Wow.
Jeez, man.
Too soon.
Rude.
I'm not familiar.
Rude.
She's from Brooklyn.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will. I'm not sure.
Oh, you mean St. Vincent? That's
Yeah,
Yeah.
St.
The
Vincent's.
Fortnite streamer.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm talking around it because I didn't know if it was up on the schedule. It's not. I hope it was all right to say we were doing it. But yeah, we're just gonna get together and hang out and play some games. I guess. Yeah. Some group games before we head into the long weekend for Thanksgiving here in the U.S. So stay tuned tomorrow for that.
Yeah.
Should be fun. And then, we'll be out for a couple days at the end of the week and then back with another podcast next week. Thanks for listening, everyone. I'm going to hit this button now.